So, picking up from where we last left off, with map in hand, and your things packed onto a mule-drawn cart, you and your companions set out on a trek across the road south of Jigao into the lands of eastern Winantir. Your destination, the final one, is Bezlan, a fortified military outpost that lies at the end of 2 weeks of journey across the wastes. Accompanying you is Elijah, as I'm still getting used to that. A halfling fishmonger from Jigao, who requested your protection as he and his trusty giant dung beetle make their way down to the Verdant Loop caravan stop to meet up with a contact. Did my camera turn off for some reason?
Yeah. When you went to call
music.
Oh, hey Hunter. I'm sorry, it was just a meme. I didn't mean to offend you if I did. Like, deadass. Yeah, he'll figure his mic situation out. Maybe he's setting something up. Music, eh? Sorry. There it is.
All good.
Oh yeah, because I bounced from the call and out. Okay. Should be good now. Sorry, what was I? So, accompanying you is Elijah, a halfling fishmonger from Jigao, who requested your protection as he and his trusty giant dung beetle make their way down to the Verdant Loop caravan stop to meet up with a contact. Ahead of you lies a stretch of land that spans the valley where the final battle of the Calamity took place and left its scars. Fields of broken earth and muddy paths weave around muggy swamps and rampant, corrupted forests, I want to say. Creatures twisted by echoing shadows of the betrayer gods and fierce storms rule the earth and sky, stalking hungrily across this desolate plain. To survive in these badlands means to hone one's skill against elements and the embrace of both the savage, warring ways of the Goblin Kin, and the enlightened offerings of the Kryn dynasty as they continue to resist the venomous will of old gods that seeps from the depths from far beneath. You find yourselves resting within an oasis found amid this broken and marred landscape of jagged rock, sunken craters, and scabrous hooked spires of glass and rock that jut from the ground. It is a cool, late evening. Fireflies flicker at the edge of your campfire's light, the gentle sound of flowing water adds to the serenity in the air. Your mule, Penny, grazes nearby. Flies buzz about your cart wagon, where the body of the Aurora Watch scout lies forever aslumber. The scout's moorbounder sleeps close to the wagon, keeping a silent vigil over its dead master. Above, through a light overcast of purple-gray clouds, you see Exandria's 2 moons, Katha, shining bright, and her little red sister, Ruidus, trailing close behind. All's quiet, all's peaceful. You hear the gentle ruffle of underbrush as Riot, you return from your brief foraging attempt. In your hands, and sort of slumped over your shoulder, is something peculiar. The shed skin of some extremely enormous snake. With all that in mind, what do you guys wish to do?
Well, to brush up on what happened in the very little bit of RP, Riot walked over to Melina and sat down, placing the rest of the dryness orbs out but 2. And he told Melina that there's a small little scales on the back plate that show that this creature is venomous and very dangerous. And Riot said that if anything, we should do 2 people watching at all times, not just one person like normal.
The total number of pearls, just for my clarification, you're taking 2 and then I have 6? 8?
I had 10 in total.
Oh, okay. I thought you had 8. Never mind.
Oh, I'll double check, but I thought it was 10.
I may have been wrong.
Was 8. I have it in handout, I believe. I gave you the maximum amount that they spawn with, because that's how they were abandoned. In that grotto, I'm just looking for. Oh yeah, I put treasures on top this time. Dust of Dryness pellets.
Wait.
You get 8.
Oh, there's 8. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I
I'll
would
take
have
6.
6.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I didn't realize that my computer kicked me to roll D20 too.
Oh, you're good.
Happens.
Wait, did we take this dead guy with us? I thought we only robbed him.
Brought him.
Rob, that's a hard word.
He brought him with him so the Moorbounder would follow.
Oh, okay.
So he's wrapped up beside Champ.
The Moorbounder's next to him, and Riot's taking care of the Moorbounder.
During that little bit of downtime that we have right now, I would have identified the goggles that Riot gave to me as well. Spending 10 minutes as a ritual.
Sure. Is it 10 minutes? That's nice. You identify the goggles to be a sort of upgraded version of the goggles of night. Not only do they grant you dark vision, but also they extend any dark vision that you might have, granting the Kryn dynasty a sort of edge in battle over other creatures with dark vision. Also provides a fair amount of protection against sandstorms, blizzards, rain, other weather conditions that would blind.
Those are pretty
Okay.
useful.
Very. Riot
And-
can now see 180 feet.
And they don't require attunement, so they can simply be passed around as sort of like equipment.
Hang on, Nia, do you need these? Nia?
Dragonborn in this setting, I believe.
I
dark
have
vision.
dark vision.
Oh, okay, never mind. Then.
I think we all have dark
All
vision.
of us do.
I thought
Wow.
Dragonborn didn't have dark vision. Never mind, I was
Yeah.
wrong.
Dragonborns do not have dark vision.
I'm a Ravenite Dragonborn.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but I trust you.
It's like a special. It's not. It's a specific Dragonborn to this world.
Ravenite Dragonborns are one of the 2 types that hail from Trohas, specifically ones that hail from the south regions of this sort of continent. If you were to take a quick look at your map, Julian, you would see this region over yonder, the Dreamwith Ravine, where old Draconia used to be, houses sort of the home of the Ravenite Dragonborns. There is another type of Dragonborns, but they're more Empire side than anything.
Okay.
And just to make sure, we are in Melora Spring, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Just going over my notes.
Supposed to be a map. Are we supposed to have vision?
Yes.
You don't see the campsite?
No.
At the bottom?
It's just black.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. So Ravenites don't have dark vision, I believe.
I do.
No, they do.
They do?
Right.
I
There.
actually just went to
I
it.
got it.
They have dark vision.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll change your token and I'll set the new default then. I didn't know. My bad. 60 feet, is it? That means 30 dimming.
Yeah, 60 feet.
And in a few seconds, you should be able to see... There you go. We're down here. Yes?
I'm here.
Yes? Vision?
Yeah.
Works? Okay, cool.
I can see all the way out here.
So, as night continues to gather, what do you guys do?
Well, Riot did bring up a good point. We don't know what's the type of local fauna that's here in these in this little small oasis, but it would be beneficial to have 2 people on guard during the night. We're kind of stepping into uncharted, territory that we've never been to.
Oh, did anyone need any more healing from the last battle?
I'm
I'm fine.
pretty
thank you.
close to topped off.
I think we're fine. Thank you. How is the Moorbounder looking?
The
Is it
Moorbounder is not injured. No. You
Okay.
kept it more safe than its rider.
Well, since we're going to be having a
Right.
rest anyway, I'll do my Song of Rest just for anyone who needs to top off there.
Good to have some music.
Ride actually does notice what some of the more aggressive fauna is. It's actually razor vine growing along the slick stone.
Razorvine being a native plant to these lands, growing more arid regions in along the extremes, really hot places, and has a sort of predatory carnivorous trait to it, where it reacts to things in its proximity, sort of like a fly trap plant would. Reacts to stimuli. Should anybody walk upon its bricks, it usually wraps itself around the victim and chokes like a constrictor snake sort of action until the victim is unmoving, and then slowly consuming them by dissolving them in its sap.
Ride would do his best to actually describe what razor vines look like, so people would be more aware of it and not get trapped.
Looks like a verdant vine with red thorns.
Wait, it looks like a vine, so like it blends in with the bushes.
Yes.
That's
I think it also does need to be addressed that we can't just be lugging around a dead body. We do need to possibly put the body to rest. It's not that I'm worried about we getting questioned. I mean, we have, it's not us who had done this thing. However, the body is going to attract. The body's going to attract animals and everything to us, and it's also just nice to have a burial.
Does anyone have gentle repose?
So do you think we should bury it, or do you think we should burn it? Which one do you think would be better? It also seems that we're near.
There are those two options, and then you hear Galcerad whisper if anybody has gentle repose. I'm gonna turn up Hunter a little bit more.
Galvin.
Sorry, it's the strep throat.
Yep.
No, you're
Hard
good.
to go higher.
Oh, no
I don't-
worries.
I don't possess such a thing, but I think burying the body would be a little bit of dignity. Burning everything that we see is maybe possible enemies, dead corpses of the undead, sure, but
also
someone such as Brian would probably deserve to be put into the earth.
Julian, you'd know this. Do the Kryn practice fire burials or traditional burying?
traditional burials. If you mean by burying, then yeah.
Okay.
We can also give them the bearing of where we're at right now, describe its landmarks, write it on some parchment. If we are able to find a patrol, let them know that someone of their, standing is here, buried if they wish to recover the remains.
Enough. I'll get started on a hole. Gavin,
Alright,
look it
will
up,
help.
and do we have any shovels?
No.
Nope.
Nobody
I don't
picked
have molders.
The venturing gear set?
Oh,
Nope.
wait a minute.
Thought it came with a shovel.
I don't think it does.
I do believe there's like something called like a miner's kit that comes with a pickaxe, shovel, and stuff. It's specialized, but I think you can also buy a shovel on its own.
No, I think it's the Dungeoneers one.
Dungeoneers pack, is it? Yeah. Okay.
Comes with a shovel.
Yeah.
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 I got Explorers.
The Explorers comes with a shovel?
No, it doesn't though. That's the pack I have.
Right.
Let me see if I can take mold earth.
Ezekiel, did you get a shovel?
I did not think to get one.
Between Ride and I, we could probably use our claws.
I mean, Riot was just going to start using his claws and start trying to dig as best he can without them getting dull.
Without them getting dull, you find that the earth beneath you is sort of a top layer of dry sand. You manage to get maybe 2 feet under before you start hitting like the more rocky patch that you like prick like your nail inwards a little bit. But should you take like 20 minutes, you can probably form a 3 by 3 foot hole. Getting some more help. It will probably take you like an hour to dig up a grave.
Riot is going to see if the Moorbounder will help dig. If you can actually get the Moorbounder to help dig a hole.
Interesting. How it has some intuition, but I'll give you like a chance to sort of roleplay that. So, how do you? Yeah.
Riot would go in front of the Moorbounder and actually start, and he say dig, and then Riot himself will actually do it, and then he'll point and say dig.
Okay.
And he would start doing it, and then he would at least do it along with the Moorbounder and say it enough times till the Moorbounder might start pawing at the earth and start getting into the motions itself.
You watch the creature sort of cock its head sideways, then like blink one eye at a time, and then like sort of watch you, and it begins approaching, sniffing the ground a little bit, and you begin to see it like dig, but not with its paws, rather with its tusks.
Oh, smart. Riot will help as much as he can. With
eventually, it begins to sort of help you out with the paws. It's just sort of figuring out what you're doing. It is not a digging creature, and it's sort of just figuring out, but it is quite smart, I say, as I roll intelligence of 3. It takes you a while, like half an hour, to finally like get more efficient with it all, but within like half an hour to an hour, as the night continues to settle, you and a Moorbounder dig a nice hole here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, before we even lay the body in, we'll take any of the possessions. I know we have a satchel, a couple other small things.
That I don't have. Was on the Moorbounder.
Okay. I can't remember what was on him exactly.
Crap. Where was the list? There was a list made.
I believe it was in general, and I can look it up real quick to remind you guys what it was.
Like our cart inventory?
Oh, wait. I took a picture of that, I think.
On loot found on Aurora Watch Scout Brian Justice Frithar, as you found his name on his satchel, is 11 gold pieces, which I believe Julian took. 11 gold pieces, the Scout's goggles, a curved short sword. You can see it's like Aurora Watch standard issue. Has like the Aurora Watch pentagon upon it, on the hilt. There's a longbow that seems to be deep purple grip wrappings and more like a family heirloom than standard issue. Aside from the longbow, there's the 4 arrows left in the quiver, tattered leather armor. I'll give you guys a chance to sort of things out as I say them. Anybody taking any of those?
No, Julian's already taken the arrows too. That's what I was saying.
There's tattered leather armor, just dark a set of common clothes that you found on like a side satchel on the Moorbounder, as well as like a green rain cloak and this like the fur shoulder cape that you're wearing right now to get like the sort of scent on you. Attached to that fur shoulder cape is like an Aurora Watch Dynasty sigil pin that can be sort of unpinned if you don't want to wear that, or keep it on. Up to you.
Right, we'll leave it on for now, I guess.
There's a bedroll, a mess kit, rations, torches, water skins, hemp and rope. You look for shovel just in case there's no shovel. And then there's like the courier satchel containing
that's what Delvin has.
Right. Aside from that, you kind of went along sort of the ladder hind pouches, and you found a potion of healing, a common one.
Which Riot is going to give to Melina.
Okay. So Melina has a common healing potion. And you found a bag containing a single small succulent sedum that has produced small lotus-like offshoots of leaves.
And Riot had identified that too as a herb that can boost a health potion to the next level, essentially making a basic to, I guess, a greater.
Well, not basically the greater, but essentially upgrading the die. So it's almost like a halfway point. It doesn't increase the amount of dice you roll, but it does increase the potency of the potion.
Would Riot know that like it's just basic grinding it up into dust and then pouring it into the health potion, or
yeah, it's just grinding into mulch so it's consumable. You can technically drink the potion and then consume the whole plant, but then you have to chew it and it's awkward. In potion making, you generally make a poultice and you apply it to like a bandage, or you juice the plant and apply it to a potion to just make it more consumable. That's it.
Okay.
It's the juice of the plant that makes the property work.
So, as far as I remember, Riot did put the longbow back into the Moorbounders kind of packs,
Sure.
because when the tattered armor is still there, the bedroll, mess kit. Julian, did you want the rations?
You can have them.
I was just gonna leave them in the
You're
pack.
gonna cook with them, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna leave them in the pack for now, with the torches, the water skin, and the hemp rope.
Is it 10 rations?
I'm not sure
Yes.
how many rations. Oh, 10.
One of
There
us
you go.
10.
should definitely keep the satchel with like the message bag. One of us should keep that on our person.
I
so.
have it on me right now, Nia.
Yeah, Galvin has it.
Yep.
Awesome.
I guess no one's going to use this the short sword. We should just put it in the Moorbounder pack.
Maybe lay him to rest with it at least.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I inspect the bow, please?
The bow,
Sure.
it has a fine leather wrapping and looks to be very well worn and used, but kept in very good condition. The string is fresh, and doesn't show any like wear and tear anywhere. And tension's good. It's a proper longbow. Probably something like you would use.
I would like to say this though. Oh, go ahead.
It looks
I
like it could
bury
be
it
an
with him.
heirloom.
But I'd like to give it back to someone close to him, maybe.
I agree with that. If he
That's
frequents these parts and he's traveling a bit, they'll know his items. Leaving the sword with him would be, I guess, a warrior's burial, I guess you could say. But everything else, his pendant, his bow, even possibly rice pudding and anything else that he has, if he frequents, traveling between Bazoxan or here in the wasteland, it'll be identified at least sooner or later. And if he came from Bazoxan, we could at least give it back to them so they know where to find their comrade. And then at this point, I'll start getting parchment, start making like a quick little sketch of like where the body's rested, like, hey, here's some landmarks, like you'll find them here.
Roll me a perception check.
Okay.
As you're sort of scanning your surroundings, taking into landmarks and stuff, it's not so much a check to see if you succeed on that task, because that's easily done. It's more to see if you notice the following, and you do. You spot something as you're looking around. Slightly to the north, you catch the glimmer of something. It is dead night, but it looks like a ray of sunlight for just a moment. Glimmers out of like the opening of like a crevice in the rocks where the water comes off, and because of the way the water's flowing sort of downstream, the light reflects off the water. So just for a moment, and then it vanishes back into darkness. And it was coming from somewhere like up here.
And you said it was like a ray of light?
Like a ray of light, almost like a scope flare, if you will.
Did you see something?
I don't see any torches here. I mean, I can only see so far with my infernal traits, but to the north, by the water, you can see something glistening. It's almost like a glint, like I caught. I don't know if we're being watched.
As if somebody took like a piece of like mirror and just sort of like flashed light for a
Gotcha.
moment.
Well,
I don't think
suppose
we're
we
alone
should
here.
Check it out. I'll light 2 torches and hand one to Riot.
Riot smiles. It's like, I don't really need that. Everything's kind of daylight for me right now.
Yep. He hands you one anyways.
It is possible that we need to be careful. They could be the Groomsh followers, the orcs, I have the name, Trobaka.
That's not the name, but kudos for
No,
trying.
wait. No, wait. I Penny the Mule.
Before we march off, Riot would ask somebody to help him to put Brian's body into the earth, and then he would cover it up with
Not a problem.
Like
more
on
boundaries.
They're the Tanaruk.
Wait, what the fuck is her name?
Tanaruk.
Tana Rook, she's right.
Oh, I see. It's right here. I missed it. I looked way too
I wrote
far
it
up.
down.
Hang on a
I
second.
have it.
Oh no.
Riot also looks at Melina and says, maybe you can use your shape water to kind of like erode a bit of stone, and we can put like Brian is buried here. Brian Justice was buried here or something.
That'll be hard to do. I mean, I can only use the water that's here. I can't transport it or anything. Best I could do is freeze, but it'll disappear within 10 minutes to an hour.
We can use this. We can use the sword to cut into the stone a little bit if you want.
I was just gonna make a stick with his name on it.
Okay.
It's something. More than most our watchmen get. Most get consumed by demons.
Anyway, want to help me boost me up onto this ledge here? And we
Sure.
can-
Right. We'll give Rice putting a hug and like a little kiss on the forehead for helping, and then give Galvin a boost.
Yeah. I guess we'll...
You guys can move your own torches, I believe. You should be able to. If you're still using it.
Yes, we can.
Where are you going?
This way.
This is a silly question, but I'd be
Yeah.
seeing stuff like daylight anyways without torches, right?
No. So dark vision lets you see darkness as if it's dim light, and dim light as if it's sunlight. But
Double sight.
But Devil Sight is an exception. I thought you were talking about your race. Devil Sight just it doesn't change your
Doesn't change the hue. It
Is that
just
what-
allows you to see in magical darkness.
Is that what he was asking about the color?
No, like
He said-
I wasn't sure if like my character like this. All
You
the
see
shadow
normally, yeah. You don't see in black and white. You see everywhere normally. So you would indeed not need a torch. I just forgot you had Devil Sight. I
Yeah,
didn't think
that's
about
all. That's all I'm just trying to figure out. So like all this shaded part that I'm seeing from moving the torch around, like my character would be seeing fine already, though.
I don't know what you're seeing. If you can send me a snapshot real quick on Discord, maybe I can help you. Your vision though should be, unless I did change it to 120. So you should you should have sight of the entire map right now, buddy.
Oh, I do. I'm just more meaning that when I move a torch around, things become lighter again. I wasn't sure if I would still have that.
That just
toggle
means that you
working.
could still see light sources. You should be able to differentiate light sources regardless. That's why that's how Roll 20 handles it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, because I'm still seeing shadow when I move the torch, everything lights up. That's all I was just double checking.
The edge of the light.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's all I was just noticing. Is like.
So let me just. Can you see normal now?
No, here I'll show you my screen.
Okay. I'm gonna shut off your vision and just restart it again.
I'm pretty sure the way it is so it has the bright light and then it's the dim light. And then
Yeah, I have the dim light all around, but should it not be bright for my character? No.
I think each light source casts its own thing, so you can tell where.
I see what he's saying, and he's correct. So you have this, actually. Is that correct?
Nothing changed. No one. Here, I'll restart my page. Maybe that'll help.
Nocturnal. Should be able to see.
Leon, they're gonna go check out the.
Well, anyway, we can move on. We can move on. I'll try and fix it after session. I just want to dwell on it for too long. But you should be able to see the whole map regardless. Okay.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
So I'm not blind.
Cool. No,
Okay.
you're not.
Okay.
As the two of them make their way up north, do the rest of you guys follow? Stick around?
As Ryan and
will
Galvin.
stay in camp and stay guard over Penny and the body and Elijah.
Okay. Fair enough. So the rest of you?
I'm gonna start working on a campfire.
Okay. Fair enough.
We'll help Julia just settle camp in.
You guys stay in camp. Keep visual. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move over up. I don't know what the ledge difference is.
It's a 5-foot climb. It's like a gradual slope that you can, using your hands, you can easily climb up. Try not to trip over your garments. But yeah, as the rest of them sort of approach with torchlight, you now begin to see what is ahead. It looks like a how would I describe it? Like you see like lush green growth cling to the oasis shore, where like fertile ground blooms with these like colorful flowers and plump succulent plants. And there's a small waterfall of cold, clean water gently just sort of trickling beneath your feet from like a crevice in the rocks. Its source, likely some sort of underground aquifer. And there, amid the waterfall, you see an aged stone pillar, about 4 feet in height. Resting atop the pillar is like this thick book. Its cover features a large radiant sun, and as you approach with a torch, it begins to sort of reflect the golden light of your torch. It's made of like some sort of metal.
Riot, do you see that?
I do. What is a shiny book doing over there?
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Would
You wanna
Ride
take-
have heard anything about this kind of type of thing in his stories that he heard from his tribe?
Roll me a religion check.
I pop out. Oh man, I just restarted my thing. 1 sec, sorry. Religion.
Elvin, what do your elven eyes see?
It's
Note natural 1.
it appears to be a big shiny book.
You have
Didn't
no
Riot
earthly
have a
idea
stomach?
what such a relic would do in the middle of this oasis. And the symbol, it's the sun. You can only go by intuition with this one. What does your gut
Intuition?
tell you?
Palor.
Probably right, but you.
Maybe. It does look like the moon's about to overshadow it, though. Let's go
But it-
see. I'm gonna work my
Riot's
way
gonna
down.
call over to Melina and be like, "It's something very arcanic, probably something to do with a god. You might want to come."
I gotta leave my torch up here on the cliff.
Okay, you sort of lean it against the rock so it's not extinguishing, burning up the side of the rock. As you're sort of leading this, Galvin, and you're peering into the crevice of the rock, go ahead and roll me a perception check. Or actually, what is your passive?
It is 11.
11?
Oh,
Go ahead and roll it to me, just see if you get anything higher. I'll use
Yeah.
the 11 as a floor.
Blurp. Mondeska. Damn.
Not bad. It's even with an 11. You see the book, some sort of like a relic. It looks ancient, aged. Go ahead and roll me. You know what? I'll give the two of you guys a chance to go right next to it. Go ahead and roll me a religion check. See if you can.
Damn right. This thing looks like Ezekiel's backside.
Riot will laugh his butt off. I rolled a 9
Religion.
for
eh?
Riot.
If only I had a book. Go, religion. Damn.
Wow.
We're
Nice.
Y'all need church.
And the worst part is my character's supposed to be relatively a devout religious person.
You
Just doesn't know
know
what
the
this is.
minimum. It might be something to do with Palor, but you're not sure what this book is doing here. But as you're sort of peering into it with like your 11 position, you can see movement behind the rock crevice, approaching the pillar, and you realize there's something hugging the pillar. And
Oh,
she rises to gaze at you, writhing herself around the book to stare at you with two pearlescent golden eyes. A snake approximately 20 feet in length with like a humanoid female-like face.
Calvin, get back up here. Calvin.
Shh, don't move. Just.
Friend or foe?
I'd like to say friend. And I am friend. But what do you determine as friend?
Many are curious. Seldom are devout. But I welcome those who would welcome into their heart the knowledge of the ancients. I am Sekhmet Ptah. I guard this oasis and this relic therein. Immortal as I am, and tasked with an immortal mission. Be you of good, or be you here to take which is not yours.
I'm good, I think. Did not come here to steal the book.
We come here to learn.
Well, yes. Curiosity led us this direction.
Then come, sit, stay a while. The creature doesn't seem pure hostile. Either it's pretending, or it's genuinely just here to guard this book.
Insight check.
That's what I was going to ask. Can I insight check?
Go for it.
18.
With an 18, she seems sort of not coiled back in a sort of aggressive way, just protective of the object, the rain. And she gazes towards you, Riot, Galvin, and the tiefling in the distance. I mean no harm to those who are here to learn. Of Pelor's gift to Melora, this oasis. Of Melora's last seed that grew into the exemplar. Of Melora's children guarding the verdant loop gardens. Of divine sights within the seat of evil that feed the brave few that stand against the dark tide that spews from the betrayer's rise. What knowledge do you seek?
Ryan's going to remain quiet and look at Galvin for a second.
Coming up, I'll walk up and then just kind of interpose myself. You speak of the betrayer's rise, and there's so much to know about it from a time long before us. But we are looking for someone, possibly that Pelor had known, by the name of Elixion. And having access to your book that you guard possibly might give us those answers. We're on our way to Bizoxan to deal with possibly a demon incursion and to know more of it.
You see her turn her head for a moment, contemplating the name. This thing isn't ancient. It has seen much, lived through a lot. Possibly it might require a reminder of the one you speak of.
Let me go back to my notes. If I can give actual detailed. Avoid a threat, has a great strength. Consider food, shopping. I don't think I have Elixion's like actual physical like appearance written down. Let me check.
This here is a record, a gift from those who came before. The book, a relic of ancient times, left here by acolytes of Pelor. Within its pages are histories and prayers to the god of sunlight, the wild mother, and the forces of divine good that had trapped the betrayer gods deep within Exandria's core. Perhaps the rain, you may find that which you seek. And she sort of uncoils herself from around the pillar and sort of moves aside to grant you sort of an access to it.
Well, I suppose there's no harm in looking.
I will follow and try to not slip in deep into the water.
It's not deep. The oasis is cool, and sort of walking the shoreline, you can tell it's maybe ankle deep. It's literally just trickling from this crevice from some underground aquifer that's overflowing.
What was the lady's name?
The snake?
Yes.
Sekhmet Ptah. It is a very ancient name given to likely just guardians of the gods, and it sounds very foreign on the tongue.
Can you spell it?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
I
please.
can certainly do that. It's not gonna help you.
I almost wrote sec my toe, and it did not work.
Sekhmetos.
Sekmepita.
Yeah,
Sekhmet Pita.
or just Sech, if you want to be like. It sounds foreign on the tongue because it is a name from a language before Common.
Actually, what language is it?
A language before Common. It's probably forgotten.
Oh,
It's
fair enough.
before your people's time. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it because like we're talking like before the Age of Arcanum, before the Calamity.
Yeah,
like
God speak.
pretty much. Maybe it's like some sort of version of like Taran, like Earth speak. But anyways, Segment is happy to share her knowledge of like the land, its histories, with those keen to learn. As you gleam over some of the pages, you hear her whisper about this place, the oasis that you find yourself in, Palor's gift to Melora, one god to another, the sun gifted to the mother of nature. She speaks of Melora's last seed that was planted in this land after the calamity sort of wrecked everything. Before the gods left, Melora actually planted her last seed into this land, not this oasis. Something that she calls the exemplar. Speaks of a great tree. She speaks of others of her kind, not perhaps snake-like, taking other forms. Melora's children, so to speak, guarding various sites. One here, one at the verdant loop, another one across the barbed fields, another guarding the exemplar tree. Speaking of this sort of these ancient guardians. Speaking of divine sites within here and the verdant loop, and even in Bezozan, she speaks of a site that feeds the brave few that stand against the dark tide that spews from the betrayer's rise.
Would she give us his name?
The current guardian, she tries to remember, and you'll have to bear with me. I have it. She does give you a name. Give me a second.
Just Bezoxen.
Bezozan is, or Bezoxen as we call it because we are broken by Mac, thank you Mac, is the military outpost that surrounds Betrayer's Rise. Specifically, let me look it up. Just looking up a number on the map of where he's at.
Oh, and Tom,
Yes.
Julian and I are RPing in Discord because I have Discord on my phone, which has a keyboard.
I mean, great, but I'm not seeing it. So if you want to say anything out loud, go ahead. The one that she speaks of that keeps this shrine sort of alive is called Foghome. Literally just Foghome.
Okay. What form does Foghome take, if you would know?
A Furbolg in this reincarnation. Not all guardians are like demigod like. Some are just very devout priests that have undergone consecration or just took up the task. Really, this individual is a Furbolg.
Is there anything about him that would stand out to us so we can identify him more easily?
He is
Or
the only Furbolg in all of Bezozan.
Okay, thank you.
Furbolgs are actually not very common to these regional lands. Perhaps where you come from, the Club's Concord, the Empire for sure, the forest side, they're not very common here. Giantkin tend to stick to Islecross, which is sort of the frozen region of Alexandria, the Antarctica of this planet. But you'll recognize them on sight should you be keeping an eye out for Furbolg.
I will be.
Mm-hmm. She also speaks of other possible prayer sites throughout Grohas that may have survived the ages, but she's not omnipotent, all-knowing. and mostly sticks to here. She does share she's an immortal being, but only in the sense of many have come here seeking forbidden knowledge or to steal this artifact, and she fought them, was slain, only to be reborn and to retrieve this book and bring it back here. Which simply means that throughout Grohas, you may find a different version of her remains, if that makes sense. The soul always comes back and regenerates here.
Interesting.
Something to remember.
So we might find snake bodies of hers around?
Or
Yes.
different body.
The wise Naga knows of the prime deities, if anybody's curious. I can share a little bit of lore about them, but it's really up to you guys.
I wouldn't mind like a little write-up of it, actually, to read it.
I
Well,
would actually like
pick.
some detail on the Moonweaver, because that seems pertinent to our main quest.
Okay. She's agreeing to talk to you about it, but she is somebody who really takes her time going over this detail. If you want, you can take sort of first watch over the night. I'll share
Yeah,
some
I'll
things
go
over
with it. I
that.
only gotta sleep 4 hours, so.
Yeah, for sure. I can give you some details about Moonweaver, no problem. If I remember how to spell her name, I do. Okay. Elvish, right? So that's secured. Obviously, she doesn't have all the time of the night, so that will take the better half night. Speaking with you about that. Do anybody want to interact with her, like questions-wise, right now, or with a book?
Well,
or
I wanted to.
yeah.
I wanted to ask if Elixion had ever crossed paths here, because as we're trying to follow in his footsteps to see if he had any guidance. So I want to say that he would have followed the other prime deities, possibly be friends with them, ever appearing here, Seraphine, Avandra, or even Corellon.
From the way you describe him, his type, Sekhmet says that while she does not know of Elixion specifically, over the ages there have been many champions of the gods. And these champions, in order to like sort of maintain their power, would often visit sites like this one. It is not out of the question that this ancient site was visited by Elixion at some point, perhaps when another guard was stationed here. But the fact that she does not remember him means that whoever this Elixion is, he's from a long time ago.
Okay.
Probably dead.
I'm trying to remember. Elixion said he prayed in the like betrayer god's like chapel, right?
Betrayer's Rise.
I don't know if it was that. I don't think it specifically said.
What he specifically said is, I believe, something along the lines of that, of like, I prayed in the sight of great evil. Bring my jewel to and into visions of Kadat. It's vague because your connection was severed early. But from deduction and from what Elder Ushu told you, seems that the Betrayer's Rise is the most promising site of such kind.
Okay. Perfect.
As she watches you sort of browse the book, you see it is indeed a collection of histories and such. There are sort of glimpses of different records, and you do find a section on Saharan, the Moonweaver, the elvish god of the moon, and moonlight, and the god of autumn seasons, as well as the patron of many illusionists and those who use misdirection in their daily life. The page is ornamented with actual jewel craft along the pages, like as if embedded into the actual parchment. At the top heading is a moonstone, sort of encrusted in silver along the edges, to show a holy symbol that I already used on the front page, but that's her symbol, essentially.
Yes.
She is widely worshipped, but what you can tell by the people who wrote this are mostly like people of elven culture, some halflings as well. She's often, depending on the culture, it's considered also a deity of like love, protecting the trysts of lovers with shadows of her own making. You know what a tryst is?
Yes.
Sort of like forbidding love. Those who sort of work in darkness and trickery often also give her a blessing to veil them. But overall, Sahana is found among like the verdant tangles of the realms, watching over the elven courts of Arborea, which is sort of like a plane beyond this one, sort of like the Feywild of this world. Since the gods no longer are able to visit this material plane because of the divine gate. But should you ever wish to contact her, often clerics manifest avatars of her. Very powerful clerics. You can see on one of the pages is a sort of depiction of this Moonweaver. She's depicted to, like in many ways, she's like numerous. There are myths and stories of her like meddling with the unions of mortals. So she often takes many forms. She's often painted as like a young girl or woman with like light blue skin and white hair. Her body and limbs merely like wavy silk strands of silver moonlight that caress and then create the edges of shadow around her. Very like Roman Nox, if you will.
Interesting.
Yeah. You do know this, despite not knowing much about the sun god. Go ahead, roll me a religion check as you're kind of reading this. Maybe you'll recall something from your own studies, because your people are the Pallid Elves, and they have a sort of connection with the Moonweaver. I'll give you advantage. That's already good. I'll give you advantage from that, because your people are sort of tied with the... Okay. You are rather young for an elf, but even in your days, you remember there's a holy day in her honor, in fact. Sahana has rather no specific holiday that's celebrated by the elves, but usually when the moon is largest, her presence is mostly felt. Many elven astronomers like track the moon's phase and how it grows closer and further to Exandria to predict the day with the greatest accuracy. And on that day of intense moonlight, many haughty elves will throw like festivities, which like give way to all sorts of like sly and mischievous acts during that time, sort of thing. Younger elves, such as yourself, would even go as far as like use costumes and illusions to sort of like prank their peers during this time. But you know, that's just sort of like an extra there with that 17. And then lastly on the page, sort of discussing this and reviewing it over your Night's Watch, are Sehanite's 3 commandments. The first, seize your own destiny by pursuing your passions. The second, let the shadows protect you from the burning light of fanatical good and the absolute darkness of evil. And a third, walk unbridled and untethered, forging new memories and experiences. A very open concept, positive dogma. Neutral good.
Can you paste that in chat for me?
I can give you the entire handout.
Thank you.
I just like reading and presenting things. Here you go.
Oh, I have so many things I can quote now. So many things. Yes.
Cool. So while you're sort of studying that, and I hope I answered your question there, Nick, she doesn't recognize the name. It seems to be an individual that has not been heard of in a long time. And in fact, she speaks of not him, but like his type, almost as if she's ever known him, she's forgotten. And this thing is ancient. And at that moment, you recall, at the very end of your last vision of Elixion, his last words: "Don't forget me."
Damn. Gonna have to get Elixion's name tattooed on my body.
Yeah, fucking Memento Mori, that shit. You catch... This snake is very talkative. You catch something interesting that she says as you're browsing this, right? Because you're sort of glancing to the side, sort of looking at pretty flowers and finding your focus again. She mentions those of the other side. There's the side of good and then the side of evil. The side of the betrayer gods. She's speaking of Bezox and what the betrayer's rise used to be. And then she mentions individuals named the Harbingers of the Core.
Harbingers of the Core?
A faction... Harbingers of the Core. Yeah.
Harbingers of the Core.
Like the core of the world?
Or harboring.
You asked
Harbingers.
Harbingers. What did I say? Harbingers?
Yeah.
Harbingers. Sorry. You asked the question. She says it's like a faction made up of various betrayer god cults, such as the Tanaruks, who worship Grumsh, or the Children of Malice, who worship Lolth, the old drow goddess from the Underdark, that of spiders and darkness, or the disciples of Zehir, which she, by the tone of it, despises most. Zehir being a god of poison and snake, but unlike her, where she's a force of good, the disciples of Zehir are like sort of the opposite side of that coin. I'm gonna go ahead and paste that in chat as well for you guys in those notes. The faction made up of these big three, so sort of amalgamated into this. And as she's speaking to you, the three of you go ahead and roll me wisdom saving throws.
You have to do some saving throws.
Yes.
Okay.
What do we have to do?
Wisdom saving throw. It's just roll it.
Fuck.
I have advantage. No, sorry, never mind. Wrong thing.
I have 14.
No, I do. Oh no, never mind. It's a check. Fuck. I do.
Okay.
Am I supposed to be getting disadvantage on this?
No, just normal roll. I don't know why you guys are rolling disadvantage.
What the fuck?
Those of you who rolled under I need to check it again because I fucked up. And under 16,
It's under. Okay.
All
yeah.
of us.
all of you feel a sort of almost forced, calm emotion state linger upon you as she's speaking to you. And you feel her gaze pierce right here into your chests, as if she's measuring. She's speaking of these, and it's sort of like almost like a half interrogation, and the feeling abates off, and she seems unchanged, almost like her heart got tested, as she's speaking about these disciples. She uses a spell of some sort, you're not sure what. But that's it. Naga just sort of talks and finishes out this discussion of this alliance forged in an effort to sabotage the Aurora Watch, also another ancient order, and capture sacrifices for the betrayer gods, ushering forth their return.
Riot's gonna look at her and said, "We tried to save a man called Brian Justice, who was a part of the Aurora Watch. We have laid him to rest in your oasis. We hope that it's okay. We didn't want to disgrace him by carrying him around the desert."
There is no disgrace. You shall feed life's cycle as Melora intended, from ash to ash, earth to earth.
We'll bow his head and smile.
Fair enough. Okay, I just want to establish that this creature is a spellcaster in case you ever need to use that. That being said, anything else?
That's
I want
all I
to.
had for the night.
I'm panning the camera over to Julian and our Dragonborn here. What's going on in this neck of the
Hey.
woods?
We're just talking, chilling, making the
We just
fire
built a
together.
fire.
Because I'm not
Have
reading.
we used-
I'm not reading chats. If anything important happened, you can tell me.
We're not
Yeah,
even
that's
in chat because I can't write in chat because even though I have Roll20 on my phone, it doesn't include the chat. So we've been role playing in Discord in RP
Okay.
because I have that on my phone.
They're trying to find tree branches right now to make a fire.
I want to say it's been like half an hour since your friends
Oh
left.
jeez. That's
We built fire. Yeah.
so we're just resting by this. We're just like chilling by this fire. You know,
We're
it's
just
nice and
burning
toasty.
Doritos.
And,
We're
like,
just.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while since hasn't it been a minute since they went to go investigate?
Do you want to go maybe climb to the top of the hill and see if you can see anything?
Sure. Let's you should probably come with. We should probably go look for them.
As we walk by Elijah's, we were just like, we're just gonna go to the top of the hill, see if we can see what they're up to. Don't get into any trouble.
I won't. And he leans back and he's still chewing on that disgusting red stuff that he's always chewing on. And he's just studying the night sky. That's why I hire bodyguards for, so they can leave me alone by the fire. Anyways.
As we climb up, Julian's gonna like
Like,
grab
he's still in
Nia's
earshot.
arm.
He's only like 15 meters away.
Right.
15 feet away.
As they climb up, Julian's gonna like grab Nia's arm so that she can't go any further. Just whisper like, "What the fuck?"
You just see your friends chilling by like a
What
boat, just
the
peering over
fuck
it, and they're
is
just
that?
watched over by this like coiled up serpent.
We both kind of just looked wide-eyed, being like, what? But then at the same time, like, Nia gets curious as she sees the giant reptile and tries to approach further.
Wait. Nia, wait. We don't know what's going on here.
But aren't you curious? There's a giant snake and she has a face and there's a big book. Big book is interesting.
I am curious. I'm also concerned that maybe our friends are being charmed by her, or something.
Well, they're not that far away. We could try to shout. Or instead of
You guys can
shouting,
hear each other. You're like standing maybe 15 feet apart. You don't need to shout. She can hear you guys talking about her and stuff. She looks at you and
I
just
did say I was whispering.
Yeah. If we were to hear you like
Yes, they can
climb up
see
the
us.
hill, if we
okay.
hear you climb up the hill or anything, like Melina will turn around.
Wait, are you guys standing in the water?
You're whispering and
Roll reply.
you look over at like the snake and it's like hood up and it's just staring at you, listening. You're whispering,
Melina
but
will. I'll turn around and give like, and have my left hand like down low to be like kind of give like a signal of like come, and like kind of push her palm down towards the earth to be like just be cool, like be, chill.
Julian just like looks at the snake woman with like a nervous smile, and he's looking at Melina, and he's trying to look carefully at her expression to see if she looks like out of it.
She'll just kind of say with like a lower voice to be like, come, it's okay. Just be respectful.
Julian,
And then
roll me a charisma saving throw.
Carefully moving forward. Okay.
Careful of the foliage.
You see the snake sort of like lower its head closer to the water and begin to sort of draw closer to you, slithering through the undergrowth. And as you're staring into her eyes, you see the face of an old friend. What do you see? Somebody from your days before here in Droz.
Can I get back to you on that later?
Sure. You see a face, a familiar face, and the face whispers, "It's safe. Sit. Stay a while." You failed charisma saving throw. You feel, at best, indifferent about the creature. It's up to you if you feel like trusting toward it, but at best, not hostile.
Right.
Cannot willingly harm it, if that makes sense.
Are we standing in water? Oh,
Yeah, it's like ankle deep.
okay. Make my way to the pool. To the stream.
I would want to ask Sekhmet, because I don't know if we fully know, but like, what exactly like is the history behind like the Betrayer's Rise, and like how did it come to have that name? Like I know it's like sounds like a place of like where the Betrayer gods are, but like
She speaks of two places, starting with the bigger of the two. In the days of the Calamity, when the Betrayer gods were at large and physically battling it out up on the material plane, the Jorha served as a final battleground. And the heart of, like, almost the base of operations was a place called Gordranus, or in Draconic, Heart of Darkness. Nowadays renamed Rosanna, the capital of the Kryn dynasty. The Betrayer's Rise served as a sort of an extension to Gordranus, not so much as a city, but as a temple to the Betrayer gods. What is your specific question? I can answer it. I'm just trying to not spoil things ahead a little bit.
Well, it seems like a prominent figurehead, like Betrayer's Rise. It's like, that's where Betrayer gods were. But what exactly is this place?
The Betrayer gods is an immense temple of dusky stone that casts a foreboding shadow over the town of Bezazan. It is a temple. I'm reading what you would know without spoiling it. Give me a second here.
You're fine. Was the temple ever purified, or was it always in the hands of the betrayers and the cults and the harbingers?
One second.
Yep.
Riot probably would add if there's anything they can do to help Bezazan as well.
Well, help is to stem the tide. That's easy. But I'm just trying not to jump too ahead while answering the question. That's why I'm sort of filtering. Was it ever a place of... Yes. At some point, it did serve as a prayer site to other gods. Then it got taken over by the Abyss.
Which gods? Would she know?
The Moonweaver, Avandra, the Changebringer, the prime deities.
Okay.
Yes, it used to be a temple that was battled over on. There's a lot of divine power, almost as if it's a weak point between the material and the divine gate and the divine realm. It's sort of a focus point that now absolutely has gotten taken over by the Abyss.
It's peculiar, though, that she knows of the other gods, the Moonweaver and the one you just said, the Sea one. I'm sorry, I'm not at my computer right now.
Not the Sea one, but the Changebringer, yes.
Covant? Yeah, the Changebringer. But not mentioning of Elixion. It's if they hung out all together.
Elixion is not a god.
Maybe a champion. Yeah,
There were many champions of the gods. To know the prime deities is simpler than to know all their champions. Yeah, the most recent champion she spoke of that she would have mentioned by name actually would be the one they call the Sunbreaker, and this is not the first time I mentioned his name in this campaign. Ulamon Sunbreaker is the current champion of Palor, who's visits the site and who she has more contact with. These champions get reborn time and time again. This Elixion you're talking about, though, while he may have been a champion of the gods, she simply does not remember him.
Is that guy? Is he close around? Did he recently just travel through here? The champion of Palor?
Hunter, you remember reading something about Ulamon.
Isn't he in that beast town or something? Right?
It's I think you have it in your notes, right? I gave you I private messaged you what you read. Remember? Yeah. Because Riot talked about. Yeah, you got it.
I didn't put it in my Roll20 yet. Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just giving opportunity for players to sort of engage as well. So I'm just monologuing information.
Okay, Bloodwalk. The Sunbreaker. Sunbreaker has taken Talonstad, Galvin notes, with meager casualties and consecrated and consecuted secured by Beacon's Light. I don't know what that is. But Sunbreaker is the Minotaur?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds familiar now.
Riot was talking to Irvin about that back at Agatha's tavern when they were getting drunk.
Interesting. So Irvin claims to have beaten a god's champion at a game of drink. Fair enough. Where
So
is,
to sort of give context,
Talonstad?
so Talonstad, I will. There's an overland map. You guys are on Jorha's side. Herain lies the Empire side. Talonstrad is here. I'm gonna go ahead and put like a little. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna put a little title. This is Talonstrad.
Interesting.
Talonstad.
So they must have made some. Oh, that's the importance of it. I see.
Do you?
I think so.
Do you want to share with the class? Like,
Well, like, so this is the swamp, right? Like.
That's that. Yes, I'll give you
Yeah,
inspiration if you actually remember the name of it.
City Beast. It's somewhere over there, isn't it?
That where the fort is from our first
I think
campaign.
Yeah.
the fort
Yeah, I'll give you
is
inspiration if you actually remember what it was without me revealing it yet.
I know it's Fort Venture.
Yeah,
I don't remember the swamp though.
Broken Vale Marsh. So herein lies sort of the border of the Kryn dynasty, beyond which is the front of the war.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, do you want me to just say that you share what you read from the letter, or?
Basically, guys, I will share this. Broken Vale, this fort.
Here, I'll give it back to you.
Basically concluded that it's
I
been
just can't
corrupted
call
by a
you.
fell force, and they suspect some form of supernatural plague, mostly necromancy, as everyone there was dead, and they secured one prisoner, and they returned him to Urzen.
And regarding, I meant regarding Sunbreaker.
Yes, I shared that with the party.
So essentially, from I believe it was the missive that you recovered from the tiefling. It was a front report, essentially gathered from both the western side and the southwest as well. Sort of a sweeping report that has ended in Jigao is to collect from the other stations and toward Rosanna. In that report, it spoke of Sunbreaker Ulamon commanding a charge in Talonstrad.
Oh.
Taking it with minimal casualties, with consecuted return to the beacon.
Oh, I understand. They reclaimed Kryn territory?
It wasn't Kryn territory before. It's just a war. They're making.
But it said they returned consecrated to the beacon.
Yes.
Those who died.
So for the sake of clarity, do you guys want me to just read what he read from the missive?
Yes. You can share it all.
Yeah. Okay. I'll share it in chat as well, so you guys can read along. Essentially, it looks like a lot because the chat is just narrow. But essentially, in the scout's carrier bag were two documents. The first details the scout's mission, and it is purposefully vague. It reads, "Justice. You and your faithful companion are charged with delivering news from the Ashgard front into the hands of the then Kryn. It is imperative you make haste and return with reply from the Council of the Bright Queen. Soldiers are dying by the hour. Should you wish to recuperate and rest, I have sent supplies and men to relieve forces at the Emerald Loop caravan stop. Present forth this letter and your badge of service to receive your share of the quartermaster's restock. May the light of the first radiance guide you down to Hollow Path. D. Mirim, Jigao Taskhand." The second document is a missive to the attention of Adine Tessitha, Taskhand of the Bright Queen in Rosanna, the capital. This document is wax sealed. The impression is that of a dodecahedron with an infinity symbol below it. Gently breaking the seal, you read, "Bloodwalk has advanced onto Blade Garden. Our forces are holding siege. We suffered casualties and injured have been sent back to Ashgard Infirmary. All consecuted were secured by Beacon's Light. Bloodwalk to push northwest onto Hopperduk and commence cutting of supply lines to Rockguard. Sunbreaker has taken Talonstrad. Meager casualties. Consecuted secured by Beacon's Light. Broken Vale. Scouts report new Emperor outpost in Broken Vale Marsh, Fort Venture. Further investigation yielded intel. The post has succumbed to some foul force. Suspected supernatural forces at play. Evidence of necromancy. All enemy forces within dead. Scout report securing one prisoner. Returned home to Urzen. Emerald Loop. Scouts report gravity well anomalies. Isolated incidents. Asarius Dunamancers sent to investigate. Asarius, all quiet. House of Igathad, all quiet. Xarzeth Kitril, all quiet. Ambassadors report continued collaboration. Jigao, Child of Malice, Vethfriend Uvar, caught and sent via escort to Rosanna via Griffin View Overwatch. Expected arrival in 2 weeks' time. A report from Bezozen is to be collected via courier and attached to this report. I entrust Valenthelis to add to our reports. Signed, Lady Zethis Olius, Tascan of Adesarius, then Boful II, Ward of Urgen, Druvis Kothlok, Ward of the Southwest, D. Mirim, Tascan, Ward of the Northwest. Letter sealed and dated like a day before you guys left Jigao. I will make that a handout.
I'd like to note that that outpost is the one that the Inquisitor's brother was at.
Which outpost?
Griffin Watch.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it right now.
I know it's allowed, but it's what Hunter asked me to do for it.
Well,
We know where all these places are on these, like on this map. Like, do we know where the Griffin?
You don't know where the Griffin outpost is not marked on this map. However, other places are. In order of mentioned, Blade Garden, Empire Side, over yonder. Asarius, Kryn Side, over yonder. What other locations? I just sort of reveal them one at a time because I want you guys to sort of learn them as you go instead of like being like, here's a map, fuck you, you know. The many hosts of Igrothad is over here. I think that's all the ones I mentioned. Xalzeth Kitril is to the far, far south, home of where Megan's character would be from. Right over yonder. Also known as Philip to some more refined individuals. And just for context of distances, because these are like immense, like this is why they have wards. These are immense. Every single one of these squares here is like 200 miles.
Oh,
Slant.
wow.
What square?
The squares on the map. The like cyan squares, scales. These are like 200 miles each.
I had to zoom out to see the scale.
That's
the
okay.
Squares, yeah.
Yes. Y'all want a war? This is war. It's on a large scale. A lot of things happening. Nick was right about the whole like, oh, why was he alone? Why was a courier alone? I think because they just travel faster alone. I mean, how would you send a messenger, right?
Normally send them in 2s or 3s.
He was supposed to be with 2s, but something happened to the other guy in short notice, and this message had to go now, right?
I mean, it is what it is, yeah.
It is what it is. Usually there's a squadron escorting them. Maybe that squadron sometimes is missing a scout right now, you know? It's a good intuition. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to fill you guys in on that because it's that way everybody's on the same page.
So, go ahead.
Galvin's done what he needed to do tonight, so he's gonna go back to the fire.
Fair enough.
We're just leaving this person? They're gonna let us leave.
Well, I mean, she's not going anywhere.
I have questions for her.
Guardian.
Yeah.
Are you the reason this oasis is here? Did you make this oasis, or do
No.
you have some influence over it?
This oasis is a gift from one god to another, from the god of sunlight to the god of Mother Nature, essentially, the wild mother, also known as Melora. Thus, this whole oasis is named after her. It is a divine site that predates this guardian. This guardian has been placed here following the previous guardian and that guardian before it, sort of thing. She's not the reason. Rather, she is here because of this garden. It's the other way around. Sorry, right, I'm not turning back up here.
What is that book you have with you?
Maybe if you don't split the party, you would know. It is a collection of histories left here by acolytes from before the Age of Arcanum, before the war between gods. An ancient relic, divinely guarded and kept from disintegration by its guardians. Histories and such about the prime deities, the land, etc. It's a place of education, a holy shrine, if you will.
What does the last entry have right now? When was it dated?
It's a supernatural object that does not have a table of contents. It's sort of, you find what you seek eventually. Because the reason being is like, I can answer. Oh, you know what? I'll answer your question. I'll tell you what's the last thing. What's the Z column there? I got it. I just have to open
I mean, if scholars came by and they write into it, who was the last scholar to come here?
Oh, I see what you're asking.
Knowledge.
Okay, so the last entry, the most recent one, the most recent developments on the war. I'll have to get back to you on that because I do have an answer of who's the most recent development in Divinity, and that will be essentially what you find. But the key point, I'm gonna say the Harbingers of the Core will be among the last ones. This freshly formed cult is something new. It's not something from like a long time ago. It's a new alliance formed, and the Aurora Watch is actively hunting them, and you can see like entries from Aurora Watch priests adding to this book reports of what they learned. But I gave you the pretty much in the nutshell of it.
Please,
why is the book here?
Sorry? Why is the book here?
Yeah.
Because that's where it was placed by these acolytes a long time ago. In this holy divine site, this garden oasis, gifted from one god to another. And then the garden was placed here so it doesn't go anywhere. Maybe at some point... Yeah, maybe at some point... Exactly, that's a good point. Maybe at some point this place was something else. Maybe you're amid a ruin right now. At this point, everything has dissolved to dust and rock, so it's hard to tell. Maybe at some point this is sort of like the Jerusalem wall, you know? You're standing on holy ground. Some things are to your best guess. I'm just sort of giving you a plausibility here.
Right.
Not everything is... That's sort of what the Cobalt Soul is trying to do, is recover such knowledge so it doesn't decay to this point of nobody knows anymore. That's exactly what the Cobalt Soul is trying to do.
It's possible. I'm gonna try and write down as much as I can.
It is a big volume. You'll need a lot of paper for that.
I have parchment. I have parchment, but I don't want to ask to be like, okay, I take down the most important stuff, and you say, well, what's the most important stuff?
So I'll do something really cool. Since you're all involved around this book, I'll do something real cool. If we ever do history checks to recall knowledge that should be obvious, regardless of character, should be obvious to somebody who lives on Alexandria, something like, me and you, we know where France is, we know how to speak French. We even know a few places in France, like stuff. If it's historical, geographical, and especially religious, I will give you advantage on a rule if it applies to this book, as you're trying to sort of just glean from it. But it is a big read. You cannot read a Bible in like a night. You understand?
No.
That's why there's always a chance of failure. Because it's just like, you just did not get to those pages.
Does this book have information about important or powerful figures in history?
Figures? Deities, for one. It speaks of Sunbreaker Ullman and other champions like him, but no mention of Elysian, which is surprising. Elysian just doesn't seem to be recorded in history, or forgotten, or just never existed. You're not sure. Just not recorded in this book. Maybe the focus relies more on other prime deities. Maybe there's another reason. Speaks of champions, yes. What do you mean? Like, what's an important figure in your mind? Like politicians?
Like, does this does the book have information about like previous kings and queens, or maybe like powerful mages that used to exist? Or
the Aurora Watch is
sort
very
of like a threshold of specific people.
The Aurora Watch immortalized Quinn Lynn Kryn in this book. If you're looking for information on the Queen, I can post it after session if you're curious. I wouldn't say it's super relevant right now, that's why I don't want to waste too much time on it. But there is information about Layla's Kryn, also known as the Bright Queen of Den Kryn.
Riot has 2 questions. One, does this book have anything of ruins or temples that should be around here that no longer existed, that could have been like crumbled? And the other one is there anything about the Traveler in there?
Okay. Just to be fair, I will give a little bit about the Bright Queen, because I do have a section of this book that's pretty much a paragraph, so I can cover it real quick, and I'll return to that. So, regarding Bright Queen Layla's Kryn, a drow, as you would know, who is actually, as you're going through the book, you realize she's much more ancient than you thought, a lot more. Drow are known for their consecrated rituals where you live one elf life and then as another life as another creature, etc. So you can live for like hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Layla's house present when like the first beacon was found like a millennium ago. We're talking like 1,000 years ago, and has lived so far, judging by the book, like 8 lifetimes of intense struggle, self-discovery. She built a dynasty around her journey, spearheaded the recovery of 4 beacons known to the Kryn, and died numerous times in the defense of her people. Layla's Kryn is deeply revered and respected by the looks of it, as a mighty warrior, an empathic leader, and a new word that you haven't seen too often, an elder Umavi. Umavi in your language meaning perfect one, who guides her people in the light of Loxen. Her behavior therein has grown erratic at times, according to his records, sometimes worrying her like sort of inner circle that recorded these histories. But overall, she's far too driven to acknowledge such weaknesses in this time of war. And the last entries are sort of recording her involvement in the war as the leader of Rosanna. Is that fair? What you were looking for?
That is interesting information. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough.
Interesting indeed.
Now, Riot. There is actually information about the Traveler. Surprising enough, where there usually is almost none. Like Nick was actually asking before, along with the Harbingers of the Core, the Traveler is also noted as a very, very recent entry in comparison to other gods. A very young deity, if you can even call him that. Unfortunately, nothing you don't know already, though. Because he's not too well known by the average person. It would be essentially the handout I gave you, but it's shareable with the party if you want.
Yeah, I'll do that. What I was more looking for was something that would explain more what the Traveler's looking for. Because the Traveler's always trying to find stuff, but he never actually tells his followers what he's looking for,
well,
right?
He tells his followers, you would know more than this book. The Traveler is a thing of chaos, a thing of the Feywilds, looking to cause mischief and not supersede or sabotage other gods, but more like mess with them, if that makes. He's just a pure force of chaotic good, if that will. It's good pranks, laughs, and sort of spreading his word. Very seldom few of his followers actually know his actual motives and you're not gonna find these answers in this book. This book more like mentions his existence and how he came to be as a deity, which is in your handout. I can share it with the party if you want.
Yeah, you can share that with the party.
Essentially, it speaks of a powerful archfey of selfish, anarchic intent, who was known by another name during his mortal life, Artagan, or Artagan, who drew the ire of Corellian, also known as the Arch-Heart, another elvish god, around the same time that Layla's Kryn actually came to be, like a millennium ago. Both ancient beings. He practiced like pranks. His prank-like dabbling on the material plane left an entire nascent elven culture worshipping like a whale carcass. He was banished to the Feywilds and barred from the mortal realm, and sort of wandered his home plane for like hundreds of years, sowing chaos for his own enjoyment until he struck a deal with some heroes. This is like very recently. This is like maybe like a few years back. That enabled him to pretty much return to the material plane. There, he sort of embarked on his latest plot of dubious divinity under the new identity of the Traveler. He is an eccentric, fickle, prone to whimsy and impulse. He wanders Exandria seeking allies and followers to simply like entertain him. Sort of lending his powerful fey magic in the form of like divine boons and weaving a spreading myth that surround his secretive purpose.
Yeah, Riot's goal is trying to find out about that purpose and see if he can assist in it. Actually, that's what he's trying to find information about. But yeah,
you only just now start on this path. It's a little bit early for that.
Okay.
It's something that is almost half intuition at this point. It's my DM way of telling you, it's your character. You decide. That's the wonderful thing about a Traveler, is that he gives you a lot of room to interpret what it is to be impulsive, whimsy, of a force of fey good. The book depicts him as a tall elf man, sort of hidden within like a billowing green cloak, the hood obscuring his face, except for like this knowing grin. I promise you there will be more to him. It's just that this book just simply does not know that which you seek right now, because it's the knowledge of people who don't even believe if he exists or not.
Okay. And the only other question was about perhaps ruins or temples that might be around or in the vicinity of this area. Like, maybe give him a bit of a, like...
There's one, I sort of mentioned already, there's one, not so much a ruin, but a shrine kept to Melora in the Verdant Loop. Bezazan has a shrine. It is a ruin. And there perhaps is remnants of them within Betrayer's Rise. There's a few of them in Rossana that have been very much kept in good shape since like a millennia ago. And there are possibly others around, but not to this Guardian's knowledge. Again, the first she's ever been away from the shrine is to chase down those who would steal this book. And that was never too far. She does know of her sisters in the Verdant Loop, fellow daughters of Melora.
And that's where we're heading.
Whether
this
Sekhmet
one
would know, or whether it's in the book, do we know that if Pelor has visited here recently, do the gods like come down from the high plane and walk among? Hold on.
Finish your question. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Do the gods like come down to the mortal plane, and do they take the form of like a simple man or woman and walk among mortals, or do they always try to be like, hey, I am a fucking god, like praise me?
While clerics of a certain god can summon an avatar aspect of a god in for like divine intervention or like small prayers, the gods themselves no longer are able to cross the threshold of the divine gate into the material realm. They are in their own realms outside of the sphere of protection, because essentially this whole planet acts as a prison to the betrayer gods. The outer crust shell, the land, acting as the prison bars, and if that should ever, for whatever reason, fail, maybe thanks to the efforts of such cults as the harbingers of the core, if that crust shatters and the gods escape, they cannot pass through the divine gate into the other realms. The material realm essentially acting as a sort of forefront gatekeep. And that is sealed both ways. The gods, Palor, they do not walk this land anymore.
So we're stuck with the betrayer gods.
The betrayer gods are as far away as the other gods.
Okay.
Like when we're talking about the core, we mean like another plane inside the planet, almost.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
I'm being vague to give you sort of room for imagination, because
yeah,
it's a lot of symbolism. That being said, like avatars and their divine power did not escape the land. It's still summonable by clerics and other paladins and other people who invoke the powers of the rain. Agents of those gods can still cross can still not cross, but rather are stuck with us on the material realm and stuff. I'm trying to think if you can. I think you can visit a god, just not you mortal. Like if you ever achieve like a level like above the table, level 20 campaign, I think you can like travel to the godly realms like Isgard or something like that. But that's like plane travel. Like that's beyond the divine gate.
Yeah. Okay.
This one NPC man turned into such a like a lord down. I'm sorry, but there's just like a lot to a creature that knows things.
You did this.
I did it. Yeah. I guess what I'm asking is does anybody else want to speak to this creature now? I can answer questions over the week, or can we take a break and then sort of move on with our adventure?
We can take a break and move on, I guess. If something comes up, could we like send you a message, be like, we forgot to ask this? Absolutely.
You can also always return here if you so wish. Seek out other beings like this. And again, if you ever want to recall something, I might. If there's a chance of failure, I'll make you roll for it. If there's no chance of failure, I'll just tell you. There's a lot of lore I will just tell you because you live in this world. I just don't want to overload you now. And I gave you little seedlings of things that will be relevant.
There are two more things I want to look into, but we could like skip over it and then just do that in RP chat.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's not urgent now, then I know how hungry you are for lore. This is why I provided this interaction here, so we can do things in sort of retrospect.
Because I know Riot would love to see if she knows any stories of her own life and everything like that as well. So I mean, that's all like for role play. That's not for us to know now.
And Nick, this is the closest I could do to placing a library of the Cobalt Soul in Groas.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like, man, this book would be really fucking cool to have and give it to an actual like book, like the library in Rex or Zadash, but I'm not gonna take it. Now I'm just kind of like, fuck. I need to get a message across to be like, yo, send your archivist here, like fucking scribe this book.
Yeah, you might be the first person to pilgrim here, or others have been pilgriming here to collect knowledge. Such sites are where the Cobalt Soul would gain information from. But anyways, 5-minute break, guys. I'll get some water.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
I don't mind a lore dump, but boy oh boy, it's like I hope you guys retained some of that. Because the world's
I tried, like I wrote notes, but I'm just gonna have to like copy paste everything that's in chat into like my session notes, like on Discord, and then just like try to sift through and be like, okay, I like this. This is what I'm really interested in, or
yeah. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm low-key not giving you guys any more than Xandra's guide to this land. I'm trying not to homebrew too much because this world's lore is awesome as is. I just want to have like a solid source of where to get it from, rather than like, oh, my character knows because they know, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll make the bathroom real quick.
Be back in a minute.
Yep.
Tom, how do you spell our man's name, Landrian? I guess he's with
I think he went to go get some water.
Yeah.
He did a lot of Morgan Freemaning.
Dungeon Master builds an NPC specifically to constrict Julian in place and be like, and this book over here is the PHB, and you and I, motherfucker, are gonna read it.
Yes.
It says here in his
back.
commandments that seeing invisibility does not actually reveal invisibility.
Fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
I will be right back. In like 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. No problem, I'll pause the recording.
You got like an elven nose and elven ears, but a human face.
I'm not saying you're less than other elves, I'm just saying that pure elves will be able to tell that you have some sort of other heritage to you, and unless you apply like a disguise kit to pass as a full-blooded elf, it is as obvious as seeing a human. But anyway, we're going to continue off with the recording then. And
Are you guys coming back to the fire?
Right before he leaves, he wants to see if there's any ask her if there's any poisonous flowers that might help us in our endeavors with our adventure forward for Julian, and also see if there's any flowers or herbs that might help with medicine in this oasis.
well, two things. First of all, you already have some in your possession. Second of all, you already forged in this oasis. I'm gonna use the same role as before. Unfortunately, this is a place of Melora's gifts and many animals that need to survive in the desert to visit this oasis constantly. That's why you couldn't find food before, because it constantly gets picked.
I was hoping she might know a place there might be some herbs or flowers like that.
Time heals, meaning that, the Verdant Loop might. The Verdant Loop is as almost like a sister location to this one. A little bit further south with guardians of its own. Think of it sort of like if Melora, when the gods could still walk upon this earth, if Melora took like leaping bounds from one place to another before planting her final seed and vanishing beyond the Divine Gate, where she stepped, the land sort of flourished. So there's another place that maybe you'll have luck forging onwards, for sure.
Okay.
What was your first question? Is there anything along our path that will help us in our adventure? Maybe she doesn't know that. It's like a broad question. Like maybe.
Oh, he just wasn't sure if she was able to I don't know, narrow it down in a way, if there's something on the way to the Emerald Loop or something.
This creature has clairvoyance, meaning that it can see from here a mile out. Beyond that, this is the place she guards. She's sort of focused on this place.
Okay.
Hey.
This one little
before I leave, can I ask her if she might know the location or know the name Griffin Point or Griffin Watch? I think it is. If that's in a direction around you.
Right here.
Hallelujah. On the way.
I'm going to... Well, I did say it was between Bezos and Rosanna. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and place this. Do you see that circle over there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to place that over there. Point of interest. Make it a little bit thinner.
So, Rosanna, which is over here, is the capital of the Kryn Dynasty?
Rosanna is the capital, yes.
What a place to have your capital city.
It wasn't their choice.
Fair enough.
Again, this entire place is the final battlefield of Calamity. This used to be Gordranas, which used to be like the central heart of evil of the Betrayer Gods that they claimed after the war.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Anyways, night's rest. I'm gonna expedite this shit because I want to move on. Go ahead and roll me a perception check real quick.
Actually, I want to ask her about that. She mentioned that she's a protector of this place.
Yeah.
Does that mean like she'll protect the Oasis so we can trust that the Oasis won't be attacked?
Well, I mean, it might get attacked, but she keeps vigil. She does not control fate. Wow. She cannot control other people's. If you guys want to attack this Oasis, she will not be able to prevent that. She will only defend it. Okay. Distracted by the lore damp, by all the information in the rain, and sort of tired from the studies, you actually nod off for like an hour.
I don't sleep.
Well, you nod off in the sense of like you go deeper into your meditation, and then like an hour later you come back to full consciousness, and you're lying upon like a very weirdly textured like rock. It has like little, not scales, like more like plates upon plates upon plates. And then it stirs, gets up, and you see it is like a 6x6 half dome shell of like an armadillo-like creature, like just an oversized armadillo that sort of waddles slowly away from you as you kind of stir, and just sort of settles in one spot, maybe 5 feet away from you, and just curls back up to sleep.
What the fuck was that?
Aside from that, your watch is rather peaceful.
Interesting.
Okay. Come dawn. Sorry, I'm just finding my place again here. Okay, calm down. As you're waking up, Melina, as you're about to sort of settle for the road and pack your things, you feel a familiar sensation. A sending spell reach out to you. From seemingly inside your very head, you hear the voice of a fellow Cobalt Soul expositor, Sia Kresh, a curator you studied under back in Rexensham. Her stern yet silky voice greets you in a simple 25-word message. Routine scrying. Received word from Ushru. Commending efforts to secure vestige. Excavation team sent to Black Islands. Discovery of vestige is nothing short of divine intervention. This is always so sudden, these moments of contact. Having experienced this method of communication before, you take a quick moment to think of a brief, appropriate reply, 25 words or less.
Well, the message I had, I'm just gonna have to send what I had earlier.
That's fine.
But making it super quick. Is this all mental, or do I have to say it out loud?
It's mental.
Okay. So while packing her things and doing whatever, if anyone notices, she just kind of like stops what she's doing and then just like verbally says everything within her head. She just kind of like goes like almost like catatonic. Just kind of stopping just mid-movement. Rashad, there is fruit to our labor. Leaving for Bizoxen with some associates. Check archives for Elixion and Betrayer's Rise. Check in Devlin's personal library.
You receive another sending message. Same sensation. Again, 25-word message. Received. Will continue watching your progress. Additional agent was sent via portal to Bezozan. Hope the right question will consolidate your research effort. Rashad out. And again, you because I did recast again, you get the sensation that you get another 25 words in, if you so wish. Don't need to, but you do get them.
Yeah. I real quick.
Just wasting those third level spell slots.
How do I say? New. I gotta do this on my hands. New finding in. Where the fuck are we? Melora's
like spring.
Yeah, Melora Spring.
5.
New finding in Melora's Spring.
It's a 6th floor, believe it or not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it is.
Fine.
Fine is another one. No, I'm just kidding. That's you saying fine. I'm just kidding.
Okay. 5. So then, Acolytes of Palor, visit shrine, by waterfall, come as friend to. Let me get her fucking name again. Sekhmet.
One word.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lost count where I'm at.
You're at 17. You can feel a lot in this message. Holy shit.
Yeah, much history to be gained.
Yeah, cool.
I'll just send that.
Two. Okay, fair enough. Welcome to being cleric. Cool. You feel your message go across the wastes, all the way through the western side of the Empire, all the way to the capital, Lorraine. Hoping you're not intercepted. It goes off. Nia, as you're getting ready in the morning, you also feel the same sensation. For a moment, you hear a voice. Scrying. Choose your targets wisely. The Cobalt Soul Reserve is war neutral. Maintain reserve protocol lest you wish your ties revoked. Have you anything to report? 25 words or less reply.
Goodness.
Received. Reprimand understood. Problematic information destroyed.
Doesn't have to be 25. You can just leave it at that if you want.
No. Investigation resumed. Will take care to preserve boundaries in future. 10.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. You two feel the message kind of sort of sail across the weave to the other side. Right. No, it is morning. You can make any preparation you so wish, and we can pick up from where we were on the road. Go ahead and blink twice and get that yellow out of your eyes.
Before we leave, Galvin strips down and bathes real quick.
It is hella refreshing.
Hella refreshing.
Good for you for bathing in a campaign. Unlike them stinky Barovia boys. It's been 2 weeks, boys.
Just like
No.
floats for a bit.
That is a
Right,
good
with clean his
idea.
fur by throwing sand on it and just rubbing it off, just
Yeah.
Julian,
Galvin.
do you need to bathe, you little city slicker?
It is a good idea. You have soap I can borrow?
Dirty boy.
Dirty
just use
boy.
water.
No.
I'll throw water at you. Get in here. Bathe, you whore.
This is the fan service episode, isn't it?
Bathe. Mind you, I am
Try
naked,
it
but
and
like,
go anywhere near the
what is nudity among comrades?
I don't know
there
if
any
I'm
fish
that
in there?
friendly with you.
Are there any fish? No fish in this oasis. This oasis it comes from sort of groundwater,
The only
and
fish you see is Galvin.
and sort of drains and soaks into the sand. There's like nowhere for fish to come from here unless you spawn them.
He can't spawn any fish, otherwise he would.
There are a few like
Galvin-
bug eggs along the shorelines, like mosquitoes and stuff, but like no
Okay.
no aquatic forms.
So anyway, Galvin is
Follow suit in. Less like washing, but more just making sure that no like mildew or whatnot forms on her scales.
Smart, gross, but smart. just
while
just
we're-
scrubbing.
Wash my
Yeah.
face and stuff. Yeah.
Galvin's also gonna down like 3 like a water skin and a half of water. while there's
Oh yeah, by the way, as you guys are
access
traveling, do keep track of your rations. I know it's kind of whatever, but it is part of the game.
How many rations did you say we were burning through with the app?
One per day. This is this morning is your third day of travel.
Yes,
But
but
the
it-
first
People
day
realize
we
I'm
gathered how
actually
much.
using.
killed the buffalo thingies.
People don't need to use the rations because I'm cooking for them, so I still have 15 pounds of meat.
True. I'm just saying deduct from those as appropriate. But anyways, unless anybody wants to do anything real quick this morning, we move on.
that's all I had.
I would have, baited as well and just moved on. Got all my stuff, messages sending. I have all my spells prepped.
Cool.
Julian, to decide what's in your backpack with Penny.
I have it on my character sheet. On my character sheet, I've unchecked all of the items that are in my backpack, including my backpack. So
Okay. So real quick, who's leading the sort of caravan here?
Riot, you're pretty good at that. You're traveling and stuff. Go for it.
Riot would try to see if rice pudding would allow him to mount her and ride her up front.
Yes. No need for an animal check. Rice Pudding has spent the entire night sort of laying by the grave, and come morning has said her last goodbyes. It's a war mount, and perhaps not the first master it lost. She gives a quick sniff of your cloak you're wearing, and then sort of lowers her head a little bit, letting you hop on. The saddle feels firm under your buttocks. I don't know. It's good. It's a good fit for riding for long journeys. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Have you ever ridden a mount before, or is this like a first time thing?
Riot would have ridden before.
Yeah, it's kind of like riding a horse, but a lot more dexterous and like an all-terrain vehicle.
I got an ATV.
Nice.
Um,
So right as you go ahead and Jordy roll, no, go ahead and roll me just a sort of perception check. It's either your passive or whatever you roll. I'll take that as you're sort of navigating with a map. No need for survival checks. You guys are
try
good
to
there.
roll for it.
You're on the road, just following.
Oh,
Okay.
I was allowed to use my passive.
Yeah, using your passive, sort of excited about your newfound friend here and the fact that this is actually working for you. You keep maybe a little bit ahead of the pack, maybe like 20, 30 feet ahead of them, keeping an eye out as best you can. As you continue into the noon hours, your journey down south, you come upon an otherworldly scene. Growing out of the ground in long prismatic shoots are these semi-opaque white trees. Their bark has crystallized. It shimmers in the sun and hums with this soft drone. Their leaves ring out as they rustle on the breeze like tiny tears made of glass. Even more bizarre is the sensation you feel as you enter this place. You sense your entire weight elevated, maybe 10 times so, making you 10 times lighter. And as your mount sort of continues to trek the ground in a light gallop, for a moment he actually loses like touch with the ground, floats a little bit, and then settles down, and confused he like tries to stabilize itself.
Riot will pat him, Rice Pudding gently and slide off the mount and take her by the reins.
You slide off
And
and you
the-
like float down to the ground. Gravity here is like super low.
Does he notice anything specific about the trees or the odd leaves, the way they're like shimmering? Because you said it sounds like they're crying.
It sounds like they look like tiny tears made of glass, and it sounds like they're clashing against each other, like little pebbles of glass, like little marbles rustling in the wind.
If Riot moves towards a tree slowly, does he feel like he becomes more weightless?
No, that sensation remains more or less constant. However, you do hear a hum coming from each barked tree, and there's a sort of a resonance to the earth, like a soft vibration, as if something is rebounding off the tree barks in the air from tree to tree to tree to tree.
Would Riot be able to pinpoint where it's originating from?
As you lead your group further, you see in the distance, even more bizarre yet, several motes of earth seemingly floating by as if held aloft by some invisible force. There are craters here and there where stone boulders just simply left the surface and rose to orbit larger chunks and are displayed like some sort of an orrery, like those planetariums.
Okay, yeah.
You see on the ground, all of you guys see this, sort of ley lines of arcane energy run the length of the ground here in seemingly concentric patterns, circular. All lead toward a center. In this epicenter stands a 10-foot-tall obelisk of smooth stone.
Riot's gonna wait until Melina would catch up to them, or if the whole party would catch up, and be like, I do not know what is happening here. All I know is I can float, and Rice Pudding and I almost lost our footing. I don't know arcane magic as well as you. Do you think we could maybe detect to see where all this magic stuff's coming from, or see what that thing might be, pointing at the obelisk?
Well, it seems like it's almost just raw, pure magical energy that just floats within this air, but I can only imagine what was here a long time ago to make a place like this exist.
Did you read anything in your books and your library about this?
As far as here, no. This much of the territory here still lies uncharted for a lot of the library. There's still many expositors who come across the border but still have yet to return. The obelisk, though, is definitely a focal point, but I would need a closer look.
We can get a closer look. I would say we should walk slowly. Riot's going to put the goggles on and see if it will help him see up close to the obelisk. Is there anything by the obelisk?
It's daylight out. It's like noon hours.
I wasn't sure if it helped
clear
see
skies.
farther.
There's a few shadows passing by from just the most of Earth, but otherwise you don't need the goggles to see. And they unfortunately don't have a zoom function. You just try to rotate one of the lenses, it doesn't rotate to zoom.
Yes.
You need an artificer for that.
Riot's gonna point up at the floating mountains. There might be something on there. We could always try jumping up and see if we can get a hold and see what's up there.
Maybe Rice Pudding can help you.
I think that's a good idea, but I don't want Rice Pudding jumping, because if she goes up floating really high, I don't know how long it will take for her to get back down. I will jump off of Rice
There
Pudding's
is gravity. It's sort of like moon surface gravity, if that makes sense. It's not like it's gonna take her forever. Yeah.
It's more he doesn't want to float all the way up. Like he'll want to.
We all flow down here, baby.
Riot's just nervous because he's never felt this light feeling before. That's what I'm trying to more or less get across.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm not in tune with it though I kind of hate admitting it. If Galceriad was here, he might be able to actually control it a little bit better, but it's hard to say.
I don't trust that elf as far as I can throw him.
I'll admit, he has a stick up his ass, but
Oh, that's big. Sorry. Oh, that's big.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm just, as you guys are talking, I was doing Griffin Watch. Sorry.
I'm sorry. When did this show up?
Sorry. I'm fixing it. Okay.
Guys, do you see that giant 2,000 foot tall obelisk that just happened?
Alright, focus up. What? Didn't hear Megan. What?
I said, did like a meteor the size of the moon just come and squash us?
No, guys, focus up. I made a mistake. Moving on.
Well, if we walk closer to the obelisk, like, does it have any engravings or any like focal points to like check any minor details that would have intricate patterns? Yes.
The face of the obelisk is carved with like indeed these arcane runes and various complicated dunamantic formulas, all surrounding a central dodecahedron symbol, and the runes hum and glow in like this steady rhythm.
If I can get to the obelisk and touch it, I can perhaps get a better glimpse of what the runes mean if I double check what that spell does.
Touching it, it's cold to touch, devoid of any heat source. It seems to seep the heat out of your palm as you touch it. And actually, as you retrieve your hand, a little bit of frost even forms along the surface of the black obsidian. It is not a language. It is not a language.
Does that mean my spell just didn't work? Does it still do
It means that you concentrate on a spell and you've cast it as an action, and you're holding to it for the next hour, and you can tell that as you're standing in front of this obelisk, the runes themselves are not a language. However, there is something here that you do spot. Like there is a pentagram-shaped, hollowed-out hole in the obelisk, right? That leads to like a cavity within the structure, and you hear like a quiet whirring noise from within, like something rotating super fast. Resting suspended in the air in the center of the cavity is like this glowing crystal, and beneath which are two objects, which I'll describe in a moment. But there is writing here somewhere, isn't it? Just let me find it. Sorry, it's a big handout. There is a warning written upon the obelisk that you are able to translate. Seems to be that this place is some sort of an early prototype of what is called a gravity well. A machine built by Rosona Dunamancer's. The project seemed to have been abandoned after a fatal incident, and the machine now sort of rests in a relatively stable state, is what the warning sort of reads. Looking around, doesn't seem like anyone is coming to disassemble it anytime soon.
Give the message to the party. Or I decipher to out loud to the party.
So,
That would mean.
Do the trees have any broken branches lying around?
no. And you look at them, you look at the branches, the trees grow straight up and super symmetrical, spreading outwards like a web. The trees are whole, no broken branches, and they sort of span outwards.
Are there any
no
flowers at the bottom of the trees?
No flowers, just those sparkling, rustling leaves that sort of seem to catch the resonance of that now that you sort of listen, the hum really intensifies as you sort of press your ear as close as possible to that whirring mechanism that rotates super fast with a suspended gem in the center that just sort of constantly like just hums in this rhythmic state. And this reverberation sort of bounces off the trees and spreads the effect throughout this area.
Lena, do you think it would be possible perhaps to remove the gem and it would perhaps be something we can use along our travels, or do you think that that would be catastrophic?
Well, if we remove it, yeah, sure, but I'm not going to lose a hand over it.
Right, because you look over there, and something I failed to mention is you see that beneath the gem lying two objects: a rolled up scroll of some kind, and what is clearly a severed hand in like late stages of decay. And they're lying within the whirling mechanism below the gem.
Just the gem?
The gemstone is floating in a little cavity within this obelisk, about chest height from you.
Take
Does
it.
somebody have mage hand to get that scroll that's in there?
Yeah, mage hand. Unless, of course, the gravity inside is multiplied to make the scroll weigh like 30 pounds, of course.
As you cast the mage hand spell, what do you do with it? You describe your action.
Guys, what do you think? Do you think we should go for the scroll or for the gem itself?
I would say grab the scroll first.
Scroll
Grab
first.
the scroll first, okay. So, Nia casts her mage hand and extends it towards the reverberating hum of the
Okay.
spinning.
Something very curious happens as the hand encroaches the whirling mechanism. As soon as it touches this rotating mechanism, the hand is severed, becomes arcane powder, and you watch it spiral like a galaxy around the mechanism for a moment, continuing spiraling the arcane energy, concentrating like a sun around the gem, and then gets absorbed into it. And you feel yourself grow even more lighter to the point where you have to grab onto something before you leave the ground.
Oh no.
She grabs on
Yikes.
to whoever's next to her.
You grab onto whatever is next to you. Whoever's next to you begins floating off the ground as well, as the entire anti-gravity field just intensifies, pulling you guys slowly upwards.
Fuck. Oh fuck.
Right's pushing. Right's putting backwards as this is occurring. As he sees everybody closest to the obstacle, obelisk rise. He's a little farther away.
You push off rice pudding, and you just send yourself flying 10, 20 feet, 30 feet.
Shit.
And you just keep watching Riot just sort of.
Once we get to 30 feet, the mage hand will, the spell completely ends, so.
No, not the mage hand. Riot pushes off rice pudding, and then you watch him sort of rise on a diagonal angle upwards 10, 20, 30 feet. As the device whirls and you can hear the humming sort of intensify, and then as the arcane energy of just a cantrip begins to sort of fade away and stop feeding the mechanism, it returns to its normal speed of whirling, and right in a parabola arc you slowly begin to descend back downwards. You end up maybe 80 feet away from the party, back on the ground.
The entire time you're hearing him go,
just flipping upside down.
Flipping, doing surrounding circles, trying to swim the air. Like you guys have seen his eyes go into slits and his ears pin back. This is beyond normal for him. He is just so unhappy, and this feels so wrong.
Just fur puffed up, worse than underwater. But indeed,
once he hits the ground, he's going to go in the feeble position for a moment and just curl up and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" He's slightly terrified.
Nia turns back towards Riot and apologizes loudly. I'm sorry.
Would Riot hear her 80 feet away?
Yeah, you can hear. If you're yelling, you can hear each other 300 feet away. But yeah.
Riot's gonna stay there shivering for a bit.
Okay. The rest of you?
Rule, guys. No magic around weird
of what we
obelisk.
should do, or
Leave the damn thing alone.
I'm afraid to touch it.
Because I'm not sticking my hand in that.
well, we used the mage hand and it didn't work, so I don't think we have any other viable options after that.
Well, I mean,
We could use a stick.
I don't think the stick's gonna be any better than the mage hand.
you know, I'm gonna pull out a fork from my mess kit.
Okay. Pulling out a fork.
Alright, everybody, get back.
I'm
Now,
backing 10 feet away from Galvin.
To give you a scale of what this mechanism is, the gemstone maybe fits in your palm, I would say. Yeah, this big. Looks like amethyst purple in color, floating there. Almost perfectly surrounding in an orb, about the same circumference, is what looks to be if you really peer into it and focus, it is like a crescent-shaped piece of metal that is rotating in a spherical shape very fast to the point where it's almost like an orb around it, allowing you an almost transparent view as it's swishing by around it. But it's a crescent shape, you can tell.
Okay. So, how tall is this thing?
The obelisk is 10 feet tall. The cavity is big enough to contain. It's maybe a foot by foot cavity to contain this palm-sized crystal and its whirling mechanism.
Well, so Galvin's gotta tie the fork to an arrowhead. use the arrow to be able to poke it in. But like, as he gets closer, Galvin would like to potentially roll an Arcana check.
What are you rolling Arcana check for?
I want to discern whether or not if sticking a fork in this will kill me, potentially. Or
Okay.
if potentially destabilizing the spinning ring, it may give us an opportunity to.
Well, which one?
We'll go with the destabilization of the spinning.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an Arcana check. This would be like a Arcana check gut feeling. Why not? For funsies.
Good feeling.
That feeling go.
Roll high.
Natural one.
No.
Oh my god.
Nice.
So many nat ones this session.
You have
Oh,
stick
guys,
to
you-
work.
You're like, what's the worst that
Hold
can
on.
happen? And then another voice in your head is like, fuck around, find out. And then that third was like, stick my dick in it.
Here's an idea. Before sticking the fork in, Galvin tries to blow some air in there. Like,
Okay, you do know the sensation of like blowing into like a fan? It's like that. It just like, you know.
okay.
You press your face like close enough to blow air into it, and you can feel the force of this thing rotating.
Okay, guys.
But you have a spear.
Okay, I do have. There is another possibility that. I
But
can,
fork.
Oh.
What was the other possibility?
Does anyone have a sticky substance?
What?
A substance
What?
that is sticky. Oh, Galvin takes out the jerky. The
Is
weird
jerky sticky?
Get it?
What jerky?
What kind of
that?
jerky do you eat, Hunter?
The fruit jerky. The fruit bar.
You mean like the rations?
No, the fruit bar. The old man gave me. The one that looks like blood when you spit it out.
The red
Oh,
stuff.
the yeah, no, I understand now what we're talking about. It is sticky.
Galvin's like, no, fuck the fork. Takes the fork off. Breaks the arrowhead off. Takes out his chew bit. Chews it. Sticks it onto the end.
Okay, it's you're smearing chewed food to the end of an arrow. This is definitely better than whatever Nick was gonna say, I guess. I don't know. What was your alternative plan, Nick, as you're watching this?
I wanted to use the pendant to see if I was to actually put my hand in there, if I could use its power to kind of manipulate it and
Okay.
actually stop it in time.
So for context, Hunter, as you're smearing pan on the end of the arrow shaft, you know, Milian gets out the amulet. So do you keep going with your plan, or do you want to see what happens?
I'll see what happens, but I'm ready to go.
Right, you're the backup plan.
And as Melina is about to take out the amulet, can I like stop her and then like glance at Elijah?
Oh, Elijah is having fun, sort of, in a halfling way of seize the day and live your best life. He's literally just bouncing between rock and moat, like maybe 60 feet behind you guys. Old, but a child in heart. He's just having fun.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind, even if he saw it, he'd be like, what is he gonna do? Come take it out of my hand? Good fucking luck. Plus he doesn't know truly what it is. To him, it just looks like possibly another amulet. But if I was to use Convergent Future, would I have a sense of knowing that... I'm not trying to mix meta with like whatever, but like if I was to like use that to like give myself the certain outcome, whether of passing or failing, that I could successfully grab that and actually like hold it and take it out.
It's essentially if you fail, you succeed, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Do you commit? I'm just gonna ask you this: do you commit to the action? You feel confident in your plan. It might just work. You just never done this before, so there's always like a little doubt.
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of just focus and just kind of like just be like, oh fuck, like I've never done this before, and like this is super weird. And what I told you guys back at the Broken Tusk, that I'm able to kind of tap into some reserve power that's within this, but also within myself. I'm able to manipulate time ever just so slightly and give particular possible different outcomes from, you know, different strains of time. But with this, I feel like I can actually really control it. It's just a matter of I've never done this before. She'll have the amulet and she'll, you know, roll her sleeve back, her right arm, and just kind of like have the amulet press against her chest, her left hand palm against it, pushing it to her, heart and everything. And with it, she's gonna start slowly reaching in, and then kind of getting to like where you start to hear or start to feel that whirling wind and everything that's going on in it. She'll kind of have just like a quick look back on everything and just really hope that this is the outcome that she's hoping for, and we'll go for it.
Okay. So, roll me a pure dexterity check as you're trying to take in a deep breath, gauge the speed of this rotating blade, and grab just the right moment with a passing motion. What you guys see, the rest of you, is Melina move forward, and as she does, like frozen frames that lag behind her hand multiplies. 4, 8 frames, 16, 32. Onwards in an almost infinite motion. She grabs onto the jewel, and you see the blade come around and slice her hand clean fucking off as it flies, and then slows down, reverses, reattaches to the wrist, the motion repeating once more. Another angle, another attempt, another slice. This time 2 fingers fly off. They reverse back into the frames. You see around the jewel this almost like heat wave effect coming off it, rippling the air around it, until finally she grabs the jewel, retrieves it, and in a flash the frames just and return to her hand, and she's holding the jewel in her hand. Converging futures, different fucking dimensions, converging into one reality where she succeeded. And the jewel's radiating heat refocuses back into itself, and you noted that for a moment it slightly opened, absorbed that energy, closed, and grew dim.
I just have like wide eyes. I'm like ghost white at this point. Like even though I was already like a little bit pale, just going white. And I just like look back, like eyes widen, like just kind of like put my palm out and I hold it. And then as I do that, she's just so shocked and relieved. She's like, "I did it.
What did you just do?
I could bend time to my will. I gave myself the outcome. I reached into so many different timelines to where I failed, but I found the one where I succeeded, and I got it." And she is just like almost becoming ecstatic at this point.
Nia walks up to Melina and pats her on the shoulder, and with a wide toothy grin, "Congratulations. I believed in you. I knew you could do it."
This is monumental, and I can't imagine how big of an experience that this was, and that whatever Elixion had and now what we have is something so... she's just like finding it's struggling to find like what to say. It's just monumental.
Struggling with the words, and you're also breathless because you suffer one level of exhaustion, remember?
Yes, and I actually did want to bring that up.
Cool.
As she's explaining all of this, her nose just starts to kind of like bleed out. And she's starting to feel just like a little like lightheaded after going through like just so many time rifts and getting the outcome that she desired. But she has a nosebleed right now that she needs to stop. And she starts to grow lethargic. I was able to get what I wanted, but it's taking a toll on me. I can only do so much, but I got it, and I can only imagine what else we can do with this from now on. But I'm kind of tired right now.
Melina, why don't you've done such an amazing feat? I can't even put into words. But perhaps you should ride in the wagon with Penny until we get the chance to rest once more.
That was
She's
amazing.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
She's just trying to wipe the blood off, but it's just still kind of going, and she's just trying to use
Okay.
like a sack or something to kind of stop it.
You guys were so immersed in the moment that you actually stop paying attention to your environment for a moment, but then, like, as things sort of come into focus, you notice that there's something missing. The whirling noise before is not there anymore, as you hear a piece of metal just kind of like clink, 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 and mechanism drop, and you hear just one mote of earth, another one on a distance, another one maybe 10 feet away from you guys, just like lands from like 30 stories high and crashes like a meteor onto the ground. And slowly outwards in a concentric sort of form, you see all the motes that were orbiting just drop to the ground.
Going like full Lost City of Atlantis mode here.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Pretty much.
Do you think you can get the scroll as well?
Runs with him.
Through the chaos and of the rumbling, Nia looks back towards where the gem had been with the whirling, and looks back to see if she can spot the scroll.
Still there.
She casts Mage Hand once more to go and retrieve the scroll.
Okay. You cast a Mage Hand spell, and for a moment, one like the thumb and the index finger flicker out of existence for a moment, like become powder again, absorbing into the gem in Meliana's hand. And then, as you distance the hand away, the digits restore themselves, and then you reach into the cavity and retrieve the scroll, and it's now 2 feet away from you. Looks like a spell scroll of some kind.
It's amazing that the gems can still absorb spells even when it's not inside the obelisk. Seemingly.
Melina, it might be best to perhaps hand the gem to one of the guys that do not perhaps use spells, as this might be a bit of a hindrance to you.
Yeah, I would agree.
Let Galvin hold on to the gem. I do dabble in a little bit of magic.
Am the least magical out of everyone.
I use spells too.
Whoever's having a gem, add this so I know what it is. Thanks.
Okay, I will add that right now.
Amethyst spell with a T.
Right, wants to bounce up down a little bit. Is all the gravity normal now?
All the gravity returns normal, yes. You feel your weight return like 10 times back to normality.
How do the trees look?
Yeah.
The trees, the ones that are still whole, remain there. Some of them have been crushed by the boulders and such, as they came out like meteors and just shattered them like glass. There are shards all over the floor where that happened. Other ones that still stand. They just no longer have that reverberating drone to them. They're still and quiet.
Is there anything inside of the trees?
Sorry?
Like, because even though the tree was glass, was there anything like in the center closer to the ground that's more natural, or is it still glass too?
No, there is no green growing in this. You are in part of the sort of desert waste here. Just these unnatural. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're trees at this point. They might be even synthetic or something conjured by magic. The only thing that you see on the ground beneath the trees is the sort of sunlight shimmering through them, casting like almost like a rainbow pattern outwards. That now looking at it, you can see it is the dodecahedral in shape, fractal outwards.
Is Elijah okay? Wasn't he like bouncing around in the air? Wait.
He seems disappointed it all ended, but he's laughing all the while. Halflings live the best lives, making the best out of every moment. At this point of the effect ended, but doesn't seem to be injured or anything, no.
I was afraid that he fell like 30, 40, 50 feet or something.
He's okay, he has HP.
I want to pick up a bunch of those tree shards. I'm gonna take 10 of them.
Turn around, you see Elijah just broken neck on the ground. Escort failed.
Well, we might have failed his mission, but we get all of his contraband.
If you're picking these pieces up, you know gemstones. You know how to sort of, especially being a thief and sort of fencing these. It's glass.
It's just glass.
It feels and looks like glass, yes.
I'll take them anyway. I'm marking on my character sheet 10 shards of glass for it.
Sure, there would be no bigger than maybe your finger in size, because once they shatter, just how they fracture. Yeah, but you have
Fuzzy
a bunch of sharp glass in your bag, I guess. Have fun with that.
Focus
Hey,
on your finger.
I
you
will
are
make
not
use
fuzzy.
of anything.
Shrapnel grenade, let's go. Okay, so Melina's recovering from that epic feat that she just achieved. Exhaustion sort of taking you as you wipe away the blood and try to catch your breath. All the while, you feel the amulet a little bit more heavy upon your chest. And weirdly enough, at the edge of your vision, it's almost red, crystalline, a little bit. Also like fractal. But if you shake your head and dismiss it, it goes away. But it's just effects of exhaustion. Perception, all that, a little bit disadvantageous, but otherwise, you're alive. And you have your hand. You felt pain, by the way. When you fail things and you fix them with time, you feel that shit. Alright.
Does Melina still have like a bleeding nose or like, I don't know, like the soreness in her hand? Like, I was wondering if Rye came over to check on her and did like a point of lay on hands, would it stop the bleeding and maybe dull the sensation in her?
There is no bleeding. You saw the hand cleave off. You saw the fingers go. You saw the temp again, and then after the last temp, not even a trace, not even a laceration trace or anything. The bleeding from the nose, that's that's going away steadily, but you can help.
That's just flare.
Yeah, just flare. But there's
Just
no like
perception
scar or
there.
anything from the hand from the prior attempt.
Ryan's just going to be like sitting in the cart right now with Bryce Pudding walking beside, and he's just going to be like playing with her wrist, like not exactly massaging, but it's kind of like he's putting pressure points on her muscle and stuff to see what happened, because he is enthralled with this story that just happened in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be getting like a little bit of like a wrist massage in a way with all this poking.
I'm fine. I'm still processing. I just trying to quell this nosebleed. I haven't had them since I was a child, but I could feel it though. The pain was immense, but now it's just almost like having that almost like phantom limb, if you know what that is. But my hand is actually there. It just feels like it wasn't for a second, but and she kind of like wiggles her fingertips and everything, but it just seems like everything's fine.
You could have lost it. You learn something about the item and the ability that it gives you. If an ability has no chance of success, you will fail it. No future will converge to give you a success if there's no chance of success. There might have been a risk of you losing. It just so happened that there was a possibility of success. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That thought just kind of crosses your mind.
Before we start moving on, Nia opens the scroll
Okay.
to read the contents.
Scrolls require an hour to identify. They are magic items. It's arcane gobbledygook. It seems to be geomancy, akin to what the obelisk runes are. Various formulas. That's as far as you can tell. It's some sort of a geomantic spell. Something that your wizard might be able to use if they want to copy it down to their spellbook, or any of you who are capable of spell work can identify and cast from it.
I was gonna say, I'll take a small rest here in the cart for the next, little bit of travel if that's fine, and I can keep myself busy with that.
Nia gives the scroll over to Melina with the condition that she rest a bit first before examining the contents further.
It's like a yeah, sure, I'll try, and then just
Does it anyway.
there's just too much knowledge going through here. It's like gotta get it. Gotta capitalize on it.
I
Yeah.
feel like Melina's gonna have a small stroke eventually with all this like knowledge that she's like getting within the first couple of days.
Probably. She'll probably be up way into the night.
Cool.
That's amazing power.
And
Being
we
able
move
to
forward.
manipulate time like that. I didn't realize the amulet was so powerful. I knew it was a magic item. But
Unimancy
Julian's like
is.
shaking his head as he thinks about it.
Well, I can
will
tell it comes at a cost, though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you're tired. Seems like a small cost.
I will
You need
I will be 20 feet ahead of the party again doing the scouting when they move.
You change the timeline, but you're a bit niffing up. You have the power of gods, but you need a nappy nap.
I need a little nappy nap.
Yeah. Uppies? Sure. so as Melina and the rest, you said, right, you're gonna scout ahead a little bit?
Yeah, he's gonna do the same as before.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah, it's just perception check. Either you're passive or as a floor or a little bit higher, maybe you'll notice something. You guys are taking an hour to like short rest essentially?
23, natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay, you guys are taking an hour then? As Wright is taking a little patrol with his mount?
I thought we were
Bonding.
just moving forward.
Well, short rest is an hour.
Short rest, you can't move. You can't be sitting in the cart. The cart has to be still.
Well, you can be sitting in the car, it just has to be still, yes.
I mean,
But
I'll
can't
be short.
moving.
I'll be short resting in the cart.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm gonna identify the scroll, and honestly, if I can actually. Would I be able to identify more that the pearl that I grabbed?
No, 1 hour per item, unfortunately. So pick
Okay.
one. What pearl?
I'll just do the scroll
the 100 gold piece
The amethyst.
pearl?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the amethyst? Yeah, one or
yeah,
the
'cause
other.
it took. I don't know. I want to see the amethyst first. The scroll can be
Okay.
great. That can be done later tonight, though. But what I just took out of time,
Mhm.
the amethyst will give me.
Okay, so you see, it's a piece of yeah. What's up?
I could like see if it's attunable over the hour while you do your thing. Or
Yeah, you
no,
guys can
sorry,
split
Melena's-
investigation.
Melena's
Doesn't have to
doing
be
a
by
thing.
a
Yeah,
spellcaster.
No, sorry, Naya's doing a thing here. Yeah, you have it. Go for it.
I mean, I'll just look it over.
Right.
The amethyst.
So the amethyst, it is palm size. It looks to be processed and carved with runes and formulas all across the surface. Worth a lot. I mean, probably will fetch you 100 gold pieces, if not more, depending how you bargain for it. But at least 100 gold pieces for sure. It was the only thing keeping this machine like in a stable state. And now that you sort of investigate it and get to a sense of the runes on it and the runes on the obelisk, like you realize that if as soon as it's removed, the entire mechanism just shuts down, as you saw. Even if it's touched, in fact. You would know that it's a spell focus, and also a component in crafting a magic item that can replicate the effect of this anti-gravity field, concentrating it into like a piece of jewelry, like a ring or an amulet, to just centralize that effect onto one person, essentially making an jewelry akin to a ring of jumping. If given like a frame to stabilize the effect, the frame has to be like made from like 250 gold pieces worth of like platinum, which is like half a pound, and given like a week of work with those materials, one would be able to craft a ring of jumping, which just reverses gravity onto one person's for like just a little bit of time.
That's cool.
250 platinum. Jesus.
250 gold pieces, which is half a pound of
Oh, I
platinum.
thought you said
No,
I thought you said
let me
250 platinum. Okay.
I'll paste it. I'll paste it here. $250 gold pieces worth of platinum, which is a half a pound.
Okay.
It's just a frame to stabilize this gem. Otherwise, if you try and like channel it, it's not gonna hold power for too long. Like you saw with the cantrip, it's just gonna be a momentary effect.
It's gonna sound really dumb, but the ring that fell out is it a hunk of platinum?
No, it is. What is like metallurgy? What is that? I would suggest pure intelligence to identify it, because I don't think you have.
Metallurgy could be.
I don't think you have
guess
to-
So
I don't think you have the tools. That's what I'm saying. You don't have proficiency, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Just D20 plus your intelligence.
okay, just like a pure int roll.
Just plus intelligence.
Sorry.
Yeah, just to see if you can by sight identify what kind of metal it is.
12.
Steel, iron, maybe. You're not sure specifically. It looks like steel or iron.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let me actually look it up so I'm not lying to you. It might just be steel or iron. But I want to make sure I'm not lying to you.
He's probably half a pound of platinum.
Well, I like this
Pound
music.
is a lot. For a ring.
Huh? Half a pound. I mean, think of it as a very fucking heavy ring. I don't know, dude. And the Prime, the Shadowfell, the Feywilds. I'm reading out loud. It's tin.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is a light ass ring.
No, the half crescent thing that was rotating around this mechanism. It's tin.
Neat.
Meaning you would have dented the shit out of it if you stuck a fork in there.
Does the gem do
Yeah,
anything
that's a
by
light-ass
itself
ring.
if we don't craft into the ring?
Sorry, what?
Does the gem do anything by itself if we don't craft it into a ring?
It seems to react to magic, but it's not a stable reagent. It's prone to experimentation, but to stabilize it into an item that does the same thing over and over again, you need to make it into a magic item. That's what magic items are. Otherwise, you're just experimenting with arcane chaos, and that can be dangerous. I literally roll on a table every time you fuck with it.
I was about to say, because if it's absorbing spells, it's basically like an item that allows you to have like counterspell.
It countered a cantrip. It might react even more volatilely with bigger spells that use more arcana. I don't recommend it. It's the
Guys,
whole,
we need a 9th level wizard.
I make
So if Galvin gets hit with a fireball, who knows what the fuck's gonna happen to him?
Right.
Everyone explodes. It just quadruples in size.
Did you guys make me a terrorist?
No, it's perfectly safe. Don't worry about it.
What happens if somebody cast like
Nothing.
sending on me?
It'll be fine.
What happens if I made a wish with a magical item by the stone?
I don't know, Galvin.
I implode.
Watch for shooting stars tonight. Test it out.
Believe it or not, in real life I saw one the other night.
You're from the army, Nick. Can you make a propeller like on a plane out of tin? Or will it like
I don't know. I wasn't on a plane.
wind bend? I don't know. Maybe you have general training.
I don't know. Tin's super malleable.
I mean,
Yeah, it's super malleable, isn't it? It's super light, but I don't know if it's gonna like wind bend.
Well, they used to make them.
But
out of
so is
wood,
aluminum, and lots of planes are made with large portions of it are made of aluminum.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but tin is much more malleable than
The only
aluminum.
thing with the tin is air friction might cause it to lose structural integrity.
Yeah.
The
True.
temperature.
Anyways, sorry, I asked a question to kind of derail us.
Okay.
I was just curious. Natural 20 on perception check for your watch there, Riot, while they're taking a rest. You do know something. Obviously, because you do. Natural 20. What you see, maybe 2.5 miles. Like, this is really far, but at the edge of your horizon vision into the afternoon hours. It looks to be like a wagon made from some dark material, not wood, maybe like some sort of metal. From this distance, you can see it's shaped like there's a cage on top of it. It's being pulled by a large creature, but you're not able to sort of determine the shape. This is really far away. And being escorted by 2 other creatures, which from this distance look to be as large as the wagon and the cage combined. If it is anything like your cart that you have, these creatures are like maybe 9 feet tall. 2 of them beside the wagon, escorted by a creature the same size as them, being pulled along a little bit off the road, maybe like a mile off the road along the waist, crossing the road in a sort of a diagonal.
So these 2 9-foot creatures are in a dark material cage-like. And the 2
They're
of them
not
are
in it,
caged.
they're escorting it. They're
They're
beside.
escorting.
Yeah, they're not in it. From this distance, you can tell if there's anything in the cage itself, cargo, personnel, you're not sure. It's way off in distance, but with a natural 20, you spot them. They are...
What way are they traveling? Like southeast, southwest?
They're traveling they're traveling south, maybe south, but a little bit southwest. They're crossing the road like this. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But they're like
They're going on that.
the map doesn't give this the distance just because 2 miles on the map is this much. The scale is way off, but vision-wise, they're hella far off. You might be able to catch up to them if you go now, but your party is resting.
Ride being Ride, he would kind of investigate, but not get too close for getting into trouble. But he would follow to investigate.
Okay. To get close enough to investigate, you would have to be within maybe a half mile from them to even see details, and that's going to place you really far from the party. You can ride that distance. You're on an open road. Stealthing is not an option here. It's midday on an open road, and you'll be like a mile and a half away from your party. Consider that.
Yeah, okay, he won't do that.
Okay. You can get the party if you want, but I'm just giving you all the options here.
Right will go back to the party quickly as soon as he sees that. He would actually ask if Rice Pudding to move faster.
Yeah, easily done. This creature can go 140 feet per round, dashing. It's a fast-ass mount.
So he would dash back and he would pull the reins up as he like skidded into the group and be like, "There is some creatures that are tall, pulling a big, heavy, dark metal cart. We should go see."
Okay.
All dark creatures pulling a cart, you said?
There's like two creatures on either side of the cart, guiding it, and it looks like a big heavy metal cart. Looks like a cage. Something could be in it. It's interesting. I want to go see it, but I didn't want to leave you guys here because I don't know if you guys follow me on.
Were they like humanoids or?
They look like they were like 9 feet tall.
Oh.
They looked 9 feet tall, and they did not look like humanoids. They looked L-shaped. If that makes sense. It's so hard to describe details from that distance because you're looking at fucking ants, but they did not look like bipedal.
We should check them out. We still have to look for Thea's brother.
Yeah,
good point.
We don't.
How?
Supposed to be in Byzantium?
No, he's on the way. Hopefully.
On the way. Okay.
Or dead.
If we get close and it looks like the thing inside the cage isn't human, nor is anything else following them, let's just leave it alone.
The only thing
Not
though is
human,
that with our heavy,
brown.
with Melina down for the count till she gets a long rest, are we sure we want to approach something or someone who's potentially dangerous without our heavy hitter?
I can still do what I need to do. I'm just a little tired is all.
Yeah.
I can still hold my own.
Elijah approaches Melina and he just has like a fistful of some brown powdered shit. And he's like, not shit, but like, powdered stuff. And he's just like, just chew on this. She'll wake up in no time.
No, I'm okay. Thank you, though.
Drugs?
For sure.
All right, you're lost. And he just like licks his palm, and his tongue is like already all black from licking the stuff for like the past hour. And you look at his eyes; they're like saucers.
Dude, this guy's on fucking meth head.
Wait, Elijah, can I have some of that?
You know who the
This dude's dude, he's on methamphetamines, like trekking across the wilderness and all this shit, and like the Myriad just trust this dude. Like what?
He's been on drugs for the past 3 hours, guys. Just nobody checked on him, so I didn't want to say anything. But like for the past 3 hours, they're like, yeah, he's having fun in the low gravity field because he doesn't give a shit. He's just high as fuck. Because he forgot to check on his gun. Yeah, whatever.
So
don't underestimate him too much. You don't last very long in the syndicate if you're not smart. He puts up a front, but he knows what he's doing.
You look toward Elijah and he's just like counting his toes. He knows what he's doing.
So are we making a move or are we gonna finish?
Yep, let's go.
All right. Okay. Question for Tom.
What's up?
How many could fit on Rice Pudding with me?
2 medium-sized creatures.
2 medium-sized.
Yes.
We have a cart that the rest of us can sit in and he can pull. Oh wait,
Ryan,
I can't pull that fast.
If you'd like to scout a bit further, Nia could go with you, and then Nia has. Although I suppose that's not a super long distance.
Message is 30 feet.
It's 120, I thought.
Is it 120? Nice.
Yeah. 120.
Something.
That's kind of what Riot was thinking, actually.
Riot, just because your character would know your spells even if the player forgets, you do have a certain spells that allows you to gaze skyward.
Oh shit! Right, I totally forgot about that spell.
Cool.
Thank you, actually, because that's not an average warlock spell. That's why
I know. That's why I knew I wasn't blaming you for forgetting it, because it's literally a humble spell.
Oh yeah, it's where was it? Elevated sight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Riot is going to tell Nia to jump on the back of rice pudding and wrap her arms around him, and they're going to go in the direction that the caravan was going, and I will cast elevated sight, and I will be
link it to chat if you don't mind. I just want to see it one more time.
Yeah.
Not spell I'm used to.
With it. You cast spies elevate your invisible sensors, which appears spotted. You can see the sensor if you were flying. Grand location. The sensor moves with you. Retain the height. Elevation becomes most accurate.
I actually have a table of elevation vision. Vision to horizon. I'm just curious to see how far you can see with 120 feet of elevation. There it is. Because on the ground, yeah, and then height 120. Wow, 120 feet off the ground, you can see almost like 30 miles out.
That's fantastic. Because
that is pretty great.
So basically, as the party continues to move, and then Nia and Riot out front, kind of like relaying messages.
So I described you can barely make out details from this distance, which is barely a pixel, and then like elevating your sight, you can see like this far.
I can see them from where I am, right?
Making it a mile closer, yes, I would say so.
Okay.
What you see then, looking ahead past the desert dunes and craggy landscape, approximately 2 miles from your position and slightly off the road, you spot, as I said, that wagon on the move, kicking up dust in its wake. You see 2 large figures escort the cart and like an odd beast at its head, but from this distance it's hard to make out the details just on your eyes alone, so you approach a little bit closer. For the sake of narrative for next session, roll me stealth at disadvantage for your mount.
Oh, so is that... So what's the Warbounder's stealth?
So, I can roll it. I actually opened it. It's fine. It's dexterity. I rolled 15. Okay, I rolled 15 for next session. I just need to... Okay. With oh, you don't have access to it?
I don't think I do.
I will fix that after
let me
session.
Try it.
I rolled for it. I'll fix it after session. With elevated sight, scouting ahead, you note the wagon is made of metal. Its top enclosed by thick bars, forming a rectangular cage. Confined inside, you see are 2 humanoids. Like an eagle flying, you look closer. You see a Kryn woman in Aurora Watch Scout's armor, and a small goblin child, maybe no older than 5. Both stand within the cage with their hands bound to the bars by these like heavy-looking shackles. Escorting this metal wagon are 2 large, bug-like creatures with chitin-covered upper bodies that shimmer like bronze, and the lower body of like an enormous scorpion, complete with a stinger at the end of like a long tail. They skitter alongside the wagon on 8 legs. In both their humanoid hands are these long spiked chains, one of which ends in like a heavy spiked orb, like a morning star, and the other one of which is tethered to the iron neck collar of a 3rd prisoner. Dragged behind, you see a tall bugbear in tribal garb and a necklace of fangs ornamenting his chest. His hands are bound in iron shackles as well, and he seems to be dragging his weight as if injured or otherwise exhausted. Both scorpion folk wield heavy-looking broadswords with wicked serrated edges, and you see pulling the iron cart is this chitin-covered reptile with chittering maw, a ridged tail, and spikes at the end of its 4 legs that sort of penetrates the ground with and pulls itself forward as it pulls this heavy iron cart, leaving these tread marks in the dirt.
Does it look like they're moving towards Asarius, or are they moving off towards the mountains that are in the direction that you showed me, like on the map? That's what I was more meaning.
It looks like they're moving more toward Asarius, but you don't know their destination. It's cardinal direction. They're moving away from the mountains toward the south.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Riot is going to take a little gulp and then relay that all to Nia, and
Sure.
and then he's going to get rice pudding while like keeping an eye on them constantly through the sensor. He's going to run back and tell Nia to relay that to the rest of the group.
And just so you have a visual of the creature I just described to you, because that's always fun. Both these large escorting creatures look like this.
Oh, disgusting.
I'll post it in general for our full
To
zoom
be
in.
clear, did Riot and Nia run ahead of us, and we're running behind them to try and we'll catch up within a couple minutes?
Basically,
They're scout. You're all on foot with a cart. They're on a moorbounder that can run 8 times your speed.
Right.
So they're just sort of circling around. He's scouting. He's not morbing. What is it called in Game of Thrones when you fucking go animal mode?
Morbing.
Warging.
Is it?
Warging.
Warging, yeah. Like, it's morbing time. He's like warging out, and then he comes back on a loop after scouting the mission.
Morbin time.
Rolling a 15 stealth check. And as we reach the sort of climax of our session, so to speak, because it is getting sort of late, I'm going to rule perception for them versus your 15. You're pretty confident you go unnoticed as they keep their eyes forward on the path ahead.
thank the Lord.
I'm going to place their token right where they were traveling here-ish.
Riot's literally going to look at Nia and be like, Melina really wants to give rice pudding back to the Kryn dynasty. I think we should keep her.
I guess we'll have to see whenever we get there. If they put up a fuss about having her returned, we might not have a choice.
But I'm starting to like her. I think she likes me.
Well, there you go. Perhaps you can use that in your defense in case they ask for her back. And you can just strengthen that bond, and then perhaps they won't have. They'll either take sympathy or won't have a choice if Rice Pudding decides to defend you instead.
Maybe I can be persuasive enough and show that we can take good care of her, and maybe that way we can keep her.
There you go.
Out of character, why are you guys talking about this now?
Just in the last little bit before they get back to the party. That's all. And because Megan also doesn't really look at roleplay chat that often.
I did look at it this week. Well, I looked at it
It's a lot.
today.
It's a lot.
That's why I wanted
There
to get
wasn't
this
much there,
little moment in. But I'm done with that. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Alrighty then. Fair to say that we should conclude our session here, right? Because some of us are pushing late into the night. I hope you all had fun. If you have, again, any questions that you want to do in retrospect, ask away. I love sharing lore. I'll try and explain things. Forgive me if I don't have answers. If I don't answer your question, it's likely because I just don't want to spoil something that comes ahead with a essentially this NPC knows everything is going to tell you the whole campaign kind of thing mechanic. But that being said, I hope you guys had fun. And yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Trying to change things up because over half this party already went through this journey before. I'm trying to add other encounters into it, and frankly that's funner to me too because I don't have to do shit all over again.
Did
That's
you
fine.
stop recording?
Yes.